Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world. Pull up a chair. It's time to get down to the business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. Glad to be with you all here again this evening as we bring you tonight's installment of The Business. And you've been waiting for it here, so I definitely want to make sure we give it to you. And giving it to you we will, because on tonight's program, we are going to be discussing, clarifying a couple of things here. And I want to make sure that you understand the context of what I'm doing here tonight. When I started laying these things out here before to clarify exactly what matters and what doesn't, one of the things that came clear was that a lot of folks were sitting here and they were regurgitating, people like Rollo Tomasi and others who are still in the process of constructing what it is that they believe. They're still in the process of putting together a belief system. They're still in the process of figuring things out. Because pretty much all these guys you see out here are theorizing. They're not actually speaking from experience. That's why you never hear them talk about their experiences. But when we're discussing power dynamics, which is what I talk about, then what you start to see is that these terms like alpha male have not been properly defined. Even Rollo doesn't really know what the definition of it is. If you ask him, he doesn't really have a solid answer. He doesn't actually have a definition. Neither do the rest of the troop of dudes he runs around with. They don't have an answer either. It is a term that they toss around, but they do not understand what it means. And if you ask them, they can't tell you in a simple sentence what it is. I can tell you in a simple sentence, in a word, what being an alpha is. Power. Plain and simple, being an alpha is power. Rollo and friends are finding out something here tonight, although for those of you who've been subscribed to the business all this time, you already knew this. Being an alpha is power. Alphas and power are synonymous. Now, did you notice what I didn't say? I didn't say that alphas and money are synonymous. Money is a side effect of being powerful, if you choose it. But I didn't say that, but money doesn't make you powerful. You are powerful and money is a side effect of it. So for all the people who didn't know what that is, now you know. So go ahead and break out your pens and your notepads here. You're going to want to take notes as we get the business from the foundation that laid the groundwork upon which all of these other knockoffs, ripoffs, and other assorted people who are learning, you'll be hearing them all rewording what I'm saying here tonight on their next broadcast, but you get it here first. Get it from the place that all of them got it from. I want to give you all a case study of what it means to be a peak value beta male, because there are a lot of you who are confused. You are not understanding there are dimensions to this. That simply because you are a producer, simply because you're a peak value, not just high value, you can be a peak value individual and yet be a beta. This is something that Rollo was never able to really decipher until I laid it out, and then he started incorporating what I'm saying into his teachings to other people. But he didn't get the whole thing because I never explained the whole thing, which is why he's never been able to give a unified, organized explanation. He'll have it after tonight, and so will you. So, just because you are a producer, just because you're peak value, doesn't mean you're not a beta male. You can have a guy who is a doctor, fantastic doctor. You can have a guy who is a politician. You can have a guy who is a CEO, and at his profession, he can be considered an alpha in his profession. But when he comes to interpersonal power dynamics, that is when it's one-on-one with him and another person, particularly a female, then all of a sudden what you see is he's not an alpha anymore. He's gone back to being what he really is. He's a beta who doesn't really understand it. He doesn't really understand it. Thank you to Darius from Atlanta there in the super chat. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what that means, because as far as I can tell you here, and I've been meaning to lead up to this for a little while, the quintessential example of the typical beta male who is a peak value individual and yet is still a repository of beta male ideology and sentiments is none other than, yeah, you guessed it, Kanye West. Now, there are serious rumors circulating, and I was saying this from day one. So, anybody who hadn't been listening to me for almost a decade now, I've been saying it now since day one, that this is what it was going to be. Because just because someone is successful in their field or their profession, that doesn't mean that they see themselves that way. That doesn't mean they got a handle on things. That just means they are successful at a profession. But that's all it is. And this is where a lot of folk get it twisted and get it misconstrued. And ladies, this is a lesson. If you see this is flip sides of the same coin. Just because you are a good employee, just because you are a good lawyer or a successful lawyer, just because you are a successful nurse, just because you are a successful school teacher, that doesn't mean that you got the skill set to be a successful wife. Just because you are employee material or even manager material doesn't mean that you are wife material. Well, just because you are producer material, just because you are financial peak value material, that doesn't mean that you are not still a beta. Just because you dominate at your profession, that doesn't mean that you dominate at life in general. And I can go down the list of examples here. There's a number of guys out there who think they are and might be telling themselves. And what you all are going to find out here tonight, I want the fellas to listen in, because what you're going to find out is that you can be twisted. You can be manipulated. A simple question here. Would you know if you were a beta? I have a simple question for the guys listening to me right now. Would you know if you were a beta? Yeah, I know what you tell yourself, but I want you to sit and stop for a moment, marinate on this thought, and ask yourself a true introspective question. Would you actually know if you were a beta or not? Are you telling yourself that because you pull rank at your job or at your church or at your school, you're a football player, you're a professional athlete, and that because you are a professional athlete, that you believe that because you are in what ordinary people may regard a alpha activity, that since you participate in an alpha activity, then you must be an alpha? I must be an alpha. I play football. Well, yes, there are alphas. They are physical alphas. But that doesn't mean that they're mental alphas. That doesn't mean that they're emotional alphas. Take a look at Mike Tyson. Every time he turns around now, he's crying and boo-hooing. Just because you are in a profession that skews towards alphas, that doesn't mean you are one. And just because you are good at a profession that skews towards alphas, that doesn't mean you are one. And I might add, the more they get contacted and hit on, the more they might be alphas. But some of these dudes here, they're in professions or whatever that don't really require them to be physical, or the position that they play isn't really as physical as some of the others. So just thought I would remind you about that for a moment. So we're going to go over some key things you need to understand about being a peak value beta. First of all, you need to understand that when you are a peak value beta, you are the last one to know. That's the first thing. You are the last one to see it. You are the last one to know. Literally, everybody else can see it except you. And especially females, because remember, their survival depends upon their ability to be able, the women who are going to do the best in this world are the ones who can identify and see traits in men that men don't see in themselves. So they start laying the groundwork early. They start looking into it early. And in my opinion, the Kardashian family is an entire clan full of prospectors and speculators. They go around picking prospects and speculating. That is the family business. They are talent scouts. They are talent scouts of men, and they can see it early. They can recognize it early. See, that's something that catches you off guard as a man. You figure that if you have an ability, either you're the only one who knows or you would be the first one to see it. That's wrong. That's wrong. And there are a bunch of fellas right now dealing with baby mamas and all other kinds of other drama because you didn't recognize something in yourself that they saw. You didn't see your weakness. You thought of yourself as something other than what you were. You didn't think they saw the same thing. Now, what you're seeing in your picture right now, this is one of the pictures of Kim Kardashian before she completed the transition. Back when she still looked Armenian and her sister there. This is back before they got all their surgery finished. We know they started with the breast surgery, but this is before she got all the surgery finished. And even then, you can see it in Kanye's eye. All you had to do is just take a random picture and he looks thirsty. He looks desperate. You can see here, he is acquiescent. You can see who is the peak value person in this picture. You would never know how much he was worth versus her by taking a look at this picture right here. It speaks volumes. Even then, he was shameless and obvious about it. So you see, that was the reason why. I want to take you on a journey here for you to understand something. That's the reason why Kim could play the field as long as she did. There's a reason that she could put him on the back burner because she saw how desperate he was. So she realized, oh, he ain't going nowhere. So as you can see, before she got all that surgery and whatnot, Kim looked a little bit different. For those of you who never saw these pictures before when Nick threw them out there, yeah, she looked way different before she got all the surgery done on her nose and her eyes and lips. Yeah, before the Play-Doh people finished reshaping her. Yeah. You didn't understand it. You didn't see it, but she did. But remember, at the time, the career trajectory for Nick Cannon looked different than the one for Kanye. So, because remember, he became, an executive at Nickelodeon? But before it was over, she wound up jumping off of that train because Nick was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling you because we all know your rep. But they all wanted to get their turn. But here's the thing. Underneath all of that makeup, underneath all that surgery, this is what's under it. This right here. This is the real thing that is under it. And she knows it. She's lived her entire life with it. So she doesn't see herself the way that you do. She doesn't see herself the way these fellas do. She doesn't see herself the way that she's presented to the media. She knows what's really under it. The guys made their peace with it a long time ago, but she knows what's really under it. So she's not nearly as impressed as they are in most circumstances. So she threw Kanye back early on because she knew, oh, I'm going to get another shot at him. He's not going anywhere. I want to see if I can get something a little bit better first. And when that fell through, it became, hey, boo. Well, guess who's back? Guess who's back? Fellas, how many of you have lived this? How many of you have lived this? How many of you are living this? How many of you are the peak value beta male to some chick that you know? And remember, that's relative. You could be, if you're the best she's ever done, then you are peak value for her. If you are the best your employer has ever hired, you are peak value for them. Now, you might not be as good as a bunch of other people, but if you're the best they've ever had, the best they've ever seen, the best they've ever experienced, then you are peak value for them. So understand, somebody who knows, there's a lot that men can learn from women. Women keep their cards close to the vest. When a woman knows that she ain't got much to deal with or bargain with or leverage with, if y'all want to know the real reason that these size 16s always tell you that I'm an 8, it's because she knows that most males have a wide range of what they will accept. So she's always going to bid her price as high as unrealistically possible in the hopes that somebody's going to bite. But women understand you have to overbid your price. You have to say it's 3 or 4 times what it really is. Women understand this. What they're checking to see is if you understand it. Remember, she's got nothing to lose by throwing an outrageously high price out there. She's got nothing to lose by doing that. She's got nothing to lose. She was going to hear no anyway. It doesn't hurt her. It's like a bunch of you dudes who sit up here and just DM chicks all over the place. Fingers just bamming. You're DMing chicks all over the place because you believe the law of averages eventually is going to come up in your favor. But the truth of the matter is that they always bid their price up. A lot you can learn from this. Now, the picture over here on the left, if y'all can notice, this was a bit younger. You can see Kanye's face. This is when he first engaged, when he first proposed to her. And take a look at how he looked. Take a look at how she looked. Now, let me give you some things to note here, because here's how a lot of fellas get took. Here's how peak value beta males get took. Take a look at her body language. Take a look at her body language. Can't really compare that to old Ciara now, can ya? No, there's no comparing that to Ciara now, is there? So first and foremost, take a look. When Kim first got him to propose to her and get her pregnant and everything else, take a look at the body language. Ladies, these are some of the tricks y'all play. Fellas, understand. When a chick wants to, beta males, one of their intrinsic characteristics is that their heads are easily gassed up. That's the first thing I want you to write down. What's the sign that you're probably a beta male? Your head is easily gassed up. But remember, a woman's most effective form of communication is not verbal, it's physical. Take a look at how she's all hugged up on him. Take a look at that right there. She's using all of the tricks of the trade that her mother taught her. She's using every trick of the trade that her mother taught her to get him to not remember you like this. Now that we've had you redone, had that chin redone, that nose redone, you look like a totally different person, but the magic works. The sexual sorcery works at its best when you make physical contact. Why? Because beta males don't have a lot of healthy experiences, a lot of healthy interpersonal experiences, particularly with women. Next thing I want you to write down here. Beta males are men who are awkward with women, and they gravitate to women who specialize in transactional sex. If you are a peak value male, you are naturally going to invite and attract women who are looking to get something from you. Your job is to understand this and recognize this. But they're looking to get something from you. Now, that's okay unless you're a beta, because betas believe they can buy respect, and women understand this. Women understand that betas don't actually have the mental and emotional capacities to be able to stand on their own too. So he's going to be very quick to see if he can purchase respect. Did you get that? A beta is going to be very quick to see if he can purchase a woman's respect. See if he can purchase credibility. He doesn't believe that he brings it on his own. He's going to see if he can purchase it. See if he can grab it on his own. See if he can get it with money. Why? Because he's afraid of rejection. He doesn't have a lot of good experiences, so he's going to be very averse to rejection. And the problem is, these women see it all over you. So when they start working the sexual sorcery, the first thing they're going to do is cater to your ego. Take a look at that picture over there on the right. Take a look at that picture over there on the right. Do you see that picture? Man, oh man. Do you see that picture? I mean, do you see the smugness on his face there? Do you see that? Do you see how smug he's looking with that? I mean, boy, that's the closest to hard you ever gonna see Kanye. That's the closest you ever gonna see. Why does that keep happening? Ask yourself a basic question here. Why does that keep occurring? Well, she knows what's going on. She knows what's going on. And you know what? I literally can show you this kind of thing all over the place. I really, really can, because this is the kind of picture that you see in other places. Like I said, it's the kind of picture that you see in other places. It's the kind of picture that you see in other places. Historically in other places. You see this kind of thing a lot when you think about it. When you think about it, you've actually probably seen this a few times now. When you think about it, history tends to repeat itself. History tends to repeat itself. It's not a new thing. It's not a new thing. Would you know? And by the way, plastic surgery, non-black women, easily gassed up. Would you know if you were a beta, even if your peak value, would you actually know? Would you know? I'm asking some questions here so that you understand when you are dealing with life, to be able to deal with it properly and accurately, which you cannot do if you don't have a proper perspective on yourself. So, beta males gravitate to women who specialize in transactional sex. Kanye West, who was he with before Kim? Amber Rose. Amber Rose, a stripper. Amber Rose, a woman who specialized in transactional sex. Amber Rose, a chick who's jumped from one dude to another, hoping that she can catch another ride on the gravy train. They specialize in running into females who practice transactional sexual behavior. The other thing is that beta males try too damn hard. They try too hard. Instead of letting their accomplishments speak for them, instead of letting their accomplishments do the talking, they instead tip their hands and make it very clear that they came for something. In the process, they wind up swapping places with the female. He winds up soliciting her attention instead of the other way around. When you go into a negotiation, people, you are never supposed to let it be known what your floor is. This is where the women get it right and the men so frequently get it wrong. You're supposed to always lead with your ceiling. You're never supposed to lead with your floor. You're never supposed to make it very clear how little you will accept and what you will really settle for. Kanye was so determined to bag this chick that he was willing to pay her price. Now I'm going to come to the reasons why that's the wrong thing here in a little bit, but he was willing to come down to her price, or should I say go up to her price. She was just the one who got him. But beta males try too hard, and in the process makes it entirely too obvious. There are a lot of you right now that you couldn't get the job that you wanted. You certainly couldn't get it at the price you wanted because you were so quick to say yes. Whatever it is they were offering, you were so quick to say yes, you didn't even consider if you could have negotiated for more. Would you know if you were a beta? How many of you, the only thing you've ever negotiated over was the price of a car? You haven't negotiated over anything else. You can negotiate over real estate. You can negotiate over mattresses. For those of you who don't know, if you've ever been to a mattress store, you can negotiate over the price of a mattress. Whatever the price is, I guarantee you can knock $300-$400 off of it. You can negotiate over that. But would you know if you're the kind of person who just whatever is offered, if it doesn't sound like it's too far out of the way, you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of missing out, you grab what you can get. Other people can see that in your eyes. They can see it in your body language. They can see it in your countenance. They can see it in your demeanor. You made it too obvious that you are determined not to leave without making some kind of deal. You're determined that you're not going to leave. And in the process, you make it very, very clear that they know you're going to say yes. All they got to do is stand firm. Then you wind up getting abused and a bunch of other things. Just because you are peak value doesn't mean that you are not a beta. Just because you're peak value. That's not what it means. Are you all sharing this broadcast tonight? We hurting some feelings. I need you all to share this. We're hurting some feelings here tonight. They got us under a shadow ban, but we're going to do what we got to do. Share this program tonight. We're only 27 minutes in and hurting feelings around the world. Next order of business is that women understand that betas aren't used to women. They're not accustomed to women at all. And they treat every woman like she's the last one. And a masterful woman looks for a high-producing beta that she can dominate. Don't you all think Mariah Carey, Kim Kardashian, these chicks be seeing what the kind of dudes they go after? They're checking to see, can I dominate you? They're checking to see, can I do that? You have to understand, if a chick knows that she's living on borrowed time, if she knows that what she's got isn't really authentic and she's got to cash out what she can get, then she understands, hey, I better cash out as quickly as I can. So you go look for a guy who he doesn't have a bunch of experience. He's not very seasoned. He's very easily scared and intimidated. And you're the best thing he's ever had because he hasn't had a bunch of experiences. Ladies, this is why you need to lock down a man when you are young. Because if you are young and he is young also, he hasn't had a bunch of experiences. Most of you females today, y'all got double-digit body count numbers by the time you leave high school. But most of the guys you're dealing with don't have anywhere near that amount of experience. What that means is that he's not so used to women he's not used to cycling through women. If you're a smart woman, you lock a guy down early before he gets used to cycling through women. See, then he'll be far more reluctant to walk away from you. He hasn't grown accustomed to cycling through women yet. Too many of y'all sit up here, play the damn field too damn long, and wait until the guy you're trying to talk to has already developed the skill set to start cycling through women. At that point, baby, you done lost him. You don't have any leverage. You're not going to be able to sit up here and treat like it's special. That's it. He's wiser than you now. He's wiser than you now. Too many of you wait until the fellas have gained more experience, knowledge, and wisdom than you, and at that point, you don't have any bargaining chip. Now, if you get him when he's young and he's still naive, he will form an attachment to you. But if you wait until he starts learning how to cycle through women, it's going to be very, very hard to get him to form an attachment. Going to be very hard to do that. And too many of you wait until the fellas are no longer interested in attachment, and then things fall apart. That's the problem. Now, how in the world does this work? How does this work? I'll explain to you exactly how it works here. You see, how was Kim able to bag him despite very obviously being ran through like that? It is because first and foremost, the way in which you get a peak value beta, I'm telling all the secrets here tonight, the way in which you get a peak value beta locked down and make it where he doesn't turn away from his decision is you get him to publicly commit to you. You're going to publicly commit to her so he can lock you into her behavior. And in what this ultimately does is it immunizes her against you revolting. You see, it is one thing if she the chick you dip with on the side, but understand, if a chick knows that she been out here, running game, she doesn't really look the way that y'all think. She only looks fly if you doll her up. But if she knows she's living on borrowed time, she's going to treat your interactions differently than you. So she's got to strike while she got you starstruck. She's got to hit while she's got you starstruck. So first thing she's going to have to do here is she's going to have to get you to publicly commit to her. So you going to run around picking up the baby daddy's babies. You're going to run around at NFL practice picking up the baby daddy's babies. Why? She's going to insist that you make some type of public gesture so that at that point you have now committed to her world. As they say, you have moved out of your frame and into hers. Did you get that? You have now moved out of your frame and you have migrated over into hers. That one act is an act of commitment, not to her, but to her life, her past, and all the ramifications thereof. This is why they demand these gestures. They demand, hey, you got to come out here and be seen, because that is you making a public statement of your allegiance. That's you making a public statement of what you really believe in, where you really stand, what you really are. You are publicly committing to her life. And there's a reason why they keep insisting on that. So she gasses your head up. She makes you feel like the most important dude in the world. Never mind the fact that she always makes fellas feel like the most important dude in the world. Okay, you simple-minded and don't get it. You don't have a bunch of experiences. And she knows you've never had a female acting like this with you. That's what she knows. You've never had a female deal with you like that. A lot of you at your jobs, a lot of y'all been at the same damn job forever, making the same damn pay. Why? Because you never had a job that treated you like that before, so you're staying put. The church you've been at, you're no closer to heaven now than you were when you got there, but you're staying around. The school you're at, the degree that you're getting is utterly useless, and even you know it. But you've never been treated so well, so they treat you nice while you're sitting there being exploited. People, I'm giving you a lesson in power dynamics. Do you see? I'm trying to thread the needle so that you can connect the dots to all these different dimensions of it. I'm putting it in the context of male-female relations, but I want you to connect the dots here. This actually interconnects to all aspects of your life. When you've had somebody who knows, let me treat you differently than anybody else has treated you. Let me treat you differently than anyone else here has treated you. They understand. I gotta touch him. I gotta feel on him. He's never had somebody cater to him like this. This is what strokes his ego. And that picture over on the right says it all. You can pretend that you have really been dealing with females who are 9s and 10s. Yeah, you can pretend that. You can fake that. You can act like that. But when she put her hands on you, that picture over there on the right-hand side with the shades, sorry, dude, you done tipped your hat. You done tipped your hand. The real thing came out in that picture. And take a look at the look on Kim's face. Got him. That picture over there on the right, you can't even compare the picture on the right to the one over there on the far left. One was the proposal, but the other one is the I got him. That's years later. Oh, I got this. I got him. He ain't going nowhere. I got him. I got him. He ain't going nowhere. I got him. He's like, I'm on top of the world. I'm boss Hogan. And the women, you take a look at their faces. Their faces all say the same thing. I got him. Even if she really don't want him, take a look at it. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for the expression. She's making it clear. Oh, no matter what y'all believe, I got him. I'm not worried. I got him. Yeah, he's peak value, but he doesn't see what he's really worth, and he's emotionally vulnerable. Everybody sees he's a beta except him. And I got him. I got him. There's a reason why you see that look over and over and over again. And I think it's very telling with the sunshades on. I think it's very telling that we see the same thing over and over again as it repeats itself. Body language. These fellas are communicating through their body language. And the women see that and they see, all I gotta do. She can see how much she's gassed up your ego. She can see that in your eyes, she is the more valuable one. Or the other flip side of it. And this is the really deceptive part. This is the really deceptive part. Fellas, I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you right now, because this is unspoken and unstated. Listen very carefully to this. On the one hand, she will have you acting as if she's the most valuable. On the other hand, you will be behaving as if you are the most valuable one. However, you're only doing it because of her presence. With her presence, you feel like an alpha. Without it, you don't. Guess who's running things? Guess who's running things? No, he wasn't upset in the third picture. In the third picture, he thought he looked like this. These fellas start to look the same. This is what he thought he was doing. Oh, I'm macking. And yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Because eventually, brutal reality is going to set in. Eventually, what you really are and what she really is going to set in. Eventually, your peak value at some point, this is what usually happens. You usually reach that field of regret as a producer, where eventually what you realize is, I'll be damned, I cashed out too soon. I cashed out too soon. And take a look at how she's holding on to him here. Notice it's the same strategy. Same strategy. Body language. Same strategy. She's still real big for making physical contact. Same strategy, but now it looks like she's trying to hold him to keep him from running away. It's not accidental. It's not accidental. In this picture here, his hair is blonde. He wigging the hell out. Looks like he's trying to run away. And she's trying to hold on to him. Wait a minute, nigga, where you going? You can't run all we got, baby. But that's at that point where, as a male, you start waking up. You achieved the goal that you wanted. Now you got to live with it. Now you start waking up. Now all that euphoria of catching her is worn out. Now you see what you actually got. You actually take a look and you actually see what it is that you actually got. You start to see what you actually bought. And it feels a bit different now. See, there's a certain vulnerable segment of society that becomes baby daddies or become trapped by fraudulent females. There's only a certain segment of dudes who end up like that. And most of them don't really have a whole lot to offer because the females chose wrong. But I'm talking about the fellas, those of you who are peak value beta males. Let me tell you something right now. If you are the fella who drives the FedEx truck, you are peak value if the female you're talking to is used to dating dudes who work the deep fat fryer at Wendy's. Remember when I started off the program by saying, being a peak value male is relative. Peak value is relative. Yes, there is a definition, but it's also relative. Relative to that female. For the sake of this discussion of beta males, understand peak value can be relative. And if you don't understand, then you won't see the fact that she gets it. Because you see, I want you to understand what you're looking at here. What you're looking at here is folks didn't quite get it. If you didn't quite get it, then you don't really understand that you've been scoped and prospected for a while and you probably don't get it. That's the issue, is if you actually needed to get it, would you? If you actually needed to get it and actually needed to understand, would you actually be able to do that? Because a lot of you are not picking wisely. As a man, especially if you're a man with resources, you're supposed to be picking up. You got to choose women like you do stocks. Fellas, it is what it is. You have to make your decisions in life like you're picking a stock. You don't buy a stock on its way down. You buy a stock on its way up. But if a female understands that she's running out of time, she's going to look for the most peak value beta that she can. If she understands that the game is already over, she's going to try to bag you before you realize that the game is already over. I want to give you something to compare right here with. Take a look at old Kim right here. As you all know, this is a bit of a more recent picture. Take a look. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Want you to see something. As Kim here is, what was she, about 40? 39, 40? All right. And then take a look at her then. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this one a little bit. Take a look at her from when Kanye proposed. Take a look at him back then. This is going to be brutal to the ladies listening right now, to the women listening to me right now. This is going to be brutal on y'all. And I know y'all are like, that's right, Jason, get them fellas to work. Ladies, I got to level with the guys right now because they need to understand. They need to understand. Fellas, that's what she looked like when he bought in. He didn't understand this is going to go some kind of way quicker than you might think it will. Now she's starting to show the wear and tear. Now she's starting to show the faded paint. Now she's starting to, the finish on that gloss is starting to get dull. In other words, you're taking a look at her now and she's starting to look like something you remember. Oh, am I going too far? Am I doing too much? All right. You're starting to have buyer's remorse and it's written all over your face. Why? Because understand something. This Kanye was invincible. Far as he was concerned, he had the baddest chick in the land. Even if that's debatable, take a look at his face. Is there any doubt on that face? Take a look at that face on there. Is there any doubt that he believes that he's with the baddest chick? Take a look at his face. Forget what you think. Take a look at him. Is that what he thinks because he's the $400 million man? That's the only opinion that matters. And if you look at him very clearly, his face, his body language, his countenance, the way in which he's holding himself, the way in which he's got her, he's saying, yeah, I'm all in. But it's easier to hang on when this is the perspective from which you're dealing with it. It's easier to hang on, but when the cracks and the chips in the paint start to set in, when the polish starts to get dull, when the leather seats start to develop cracks in them, well, what you start to notice is, I'll be damned, my value has increased, but I've made an attachment and a commitment to something whose value has begun to decrease. Oh man, ladies, I know I'm offending you. I know I'm being very offensive right now, but it's incumbent upon me to tell the truth about this. Take a look at the look on his face. That's the look of a man who understands too late. He figured it out too late. Damn! I could do better. I mean, I can do better right now. She can't do better than me, but I can do better than her. Case in point, do y'all remember a couple of years ago, he was wilding out on Nick Cannon and other people and talking about, don't be talking about his wife and this, that, and the other. But now, remember, he's going on Twitter and he's talking all kinds of trash about her now. Why? Because he realizes, damn, after a decade, I can trade you in for a badder broad, but you can't trade me in for a higher value man. Unfortunately, she got her hooks in you. She's got the ring and she got the babies, plural. Dude, she got you. She got you. And I will say one more thing here tonight that I have not said previously, but I'm going to say it to you all here tonight. Kim Kardashian drove him out of his mind. Kanye wasn't acting like this. I mean, he was always a little goofy. He was always a little awkward. But Kanye wasn't flipping out of his damn mind. He wasn't acting 5150 all the time. But that's what occurs when you realize you lost everything. That's what occurs when you realize your worst nightmare has come to life. That's what occurs when you realize, damn, she's got leverage to have rights to my masters, my publishing. If I drop dead tomorrow, she gets everything. And all she really did was just sit back. He's now asking himself some questions that he should have been asking the entire time. First and foremost, he should have been asking exactly what does she produce for me? I know what I produce for her. What does she produce for me? And she's like, well, I'm cute. Okay, well, I'm a producer. Well, your money don't really matter like that. And now he's asking himself some critical questions. She was the best you thought you could do at the time because of your emotional fragility. You're now realizing that what you got has never diminished in value. But what she's got has depreciated by the year, in some cases by the day. She's even looking the part. She don't look 30 years old anymore. She looks every bit of that 40, and the plastic surgeons that you were depending upon to keep her forever young, it ain't working no more. It ain't working. It's not working. At some point, you have to realize here, and you will realize it. If you are a peak value beta male, if you are the fella who has changed that woman's life, you have to have a proper perspective on who and what you are. Because if you're a beta, you most likely think you are an alpha. That's the problem with the world today as far as males are concerned. They don't actually have objective other males to be able to talk to. And the brutal reality is that most males today are betas. But the problem is all these generation beta male actually believe they are the alphas. They think that they are alphas by being anti-alpha. They believe they are. How do you convince someone who is convinced that they are an alpha that they're actually not? They have their own pet definitions and their own pet descriptions and standards of what it is and what it means. There's a reason that OnlyFans exists. OnlyFans exists because we live in a generation of beta males. OnlyFans exists because of that. Wish lists on Amazon for random females and adult film stars, that exists because we live in a generation of beta males. That exists because their experiences are very limited. They're very shallow. They don't know what it is that actually makes them valuable. Or even if they do, they don't trust it. They don't trust it. Just because you have money doesn't mean that you're not a beta. Just because you're a beta doesn't mean you don't have money. Now, an alpha needs money, but money doesn't make you an alpha, not by itself. And most beta males actually have savings. Hell, they ain't got nothing else to do. Most beta males have savings. Most beta males have disposable income. You all can go over there on Twitch right now. Go over there on Twitch right now, and Twitch is supposed to be a platform for playing video games. There ain't nothing but a bunch of cam girls sitting over there preying on the weak and the emotionally destitute. There are chicks over there on Twitch who these dudes have literally bought them houses. Do you hear me? There are chicks over there on Twitch that these dudes have literally bought them houses. Entire houses they've bought for these females over there. And she ain't did nothing for him except sit there in the camera and smile at him. Never gave him a piece of advice. These guys are over there, I mean, emptying out their bank accounts and everything. If you were a beta, would you know it? I keep asking that question over and over again because if you were a beta, would you actually know it? Do you actually know what it is that makes you valuable? Are you actually admired for it? Do you get recognition and admiration for it separate and apart from a female, a family? Do you actually get that? Or are you out here just waiting for somebody to gas your ego up for you? Because you never really had that. Another thing to remember is that a beta never knows when he's winning. That's why these dudes get women pregnant before he can ever boost his value. And even if he's lucky enough to boost his value, he still ends up giving it away for cheap or for nothing. He ends up giving it away for cheap or for nothing. Betas don't know when to cash out. They don't know when they've got the leverage. Here's the real problem. Let me explain to you all the real problem right here. Can we just be totally honest with you? The real problem is that Kanye West thought that the only way he could get a Kim Kardashian to commit to him is if he married her. He thoroughly ignored the fact that all these other fellas didn't. Do you understand that? He told himself, the only way I can keep her is if I marry her. Now, Ray J and some other folks understood they didn't, but even they got sprung, so can't really use them too much as examples because all of them fell for the sexual sorcery to one degree or another. Nick's probably the only one that didn't get caught up necessarily. But Kanye told himself, I gotta marry her to have her. Once again, have we seen this movie before? Have we heard this story before? Have we seen this before? Have we seen fellas who were dealing with females who basically they were trying to get whatever they could get, however they could get it, but because they were dealing with inexperienced, unseasoned betas, these guys told themselves the only way I can get her is to marry her. Why do you figure that? Well, because she said so. Dude, have you seen all the dudes she slept with? Yeah, but she says she's done with that now. Bruh, do you realize that you allowed her to raise the price on you? You allowed her to jack up the price. She's worth less than she was when she was fooling around with this dude. She's worth less. He got her at higher value. And you, because of your insecurity, you have allowed her to to jack the price up. You're getting something that's got way more miles on it than the old boy got, but now you're paying more. I'm hurting feelings. I understand. Just because you have money doesn't mean that you are not a beta male. Just because you got millions doesn't mean that you're not. Now, you can't be an alpha If you can't be a true alpha if your money ain't right. Dudes who got, you might have the physical build. You might have an alpha physique, but you're a symbolic alpha. Understand that. You might have an alpha male's physical physique, but you are just a symbolic alpha. You're symbolic. You are not a true alpha. You are just a superficial tertiary. You just look like it, but you're symbolic. You're a figurehead, but you are not an alpha. And a lot of you confuse these symbolic characteristics as being the whole recipe. And that's not what it is. You allowed them to raise the price on you, and when you finally figured out that what you bought, that she conned you into jacking the price up and up and up and up and up. Now you have buyer's remorse. You're like, I'll be damned. She's not worth what I paid. Only now I'm stuck with it. Kanye's kids are young. Kanye's kids are young. He's stuck with it now. He's been wrestling with it for years. I will also tell you what else it is that's been messing with him. First of all, he thought that he had to marry her to get her. He only realized later, because of his lack of confidence, that I didn't have to marry this broad. She would have rolled with me for years. She was in her 30s. Her mama with all that damn tough talk. Wasn't nobody gonna keep her ass. He fell for the bait because he never had real players to sit up here and tap him on the shoulder and say, hey man, you ain't got to do all that. You don't have to do all that. The next thing he realizes here is that he's coming up short from where he should be. He doesn't have the freedom anymore. He doesn't have the freedom of movement. He doesn't have the freedom of access anymore. He doesn't have the ability to do any of that. Now he's on the hook. Now he's going to have to negotiate with her. He was sitting in the driver's seat. Now he's got to negotiate every damn thing. That would drive anybody crazy. Do you all understand that? When you wake up one day and realize you got millions of dollars, you're still fighting for masters in publishing from Def Jam, and then the woman that you with here and whatnot, she ain't worth what you paid. But Jason, why is she not worth what he paid? Kanye, and fellas, I want you all to understand this, because a whole bunch of y'all are still dealing with hoes who are run through. Let's just say it like it is right here. Kanye wanted Kim to bust down and draw down on her exes. He wanted Kim to go at her exes. He didn't want to have to do that. He wanted Kim to demonstrate that she had cut emotional ties, and Kim wouldn't do that. She wouldn't come out and publicly draw down on him. She wouldn't do that. Now, here's the problem with that. Kanye, that wouldn't have satisfied you, because Ciara was publicly going at Future. And all that really indicated to us was that there was something she still wanted. But let's be clear. When you tell yourself that your chick is a certain way, and then she goes off and does naked magazine covers, she's letting you know she is still on the market. A beta male lets other men see his woman naked, see his woman in a state of undress or semi-undress. Betas let random dudes make sexual contact with your woman with their eyes. There's a lot of fellas out here, you are living a life where these women are openly soliciting and you're just sitting there like, well, that's her thing. And at first, it's one thing if you go to the mall one time and it's like, okay. It's another thing when she's making a living at it. And remember, Kanye posted that his kids would never be doing Playboy and stuff. He's letting you know that, yeah, that bothers him. It's always bothered him. But why does it bother him? It bothers him because his woman is so clearly communicating to him that she has not left the market. That she's still on the market. Somebody in the chat asked, is Jay-Z a beta male? Ask Roger Goodell if Jay-Z is a beta male. Ask Roger Goodell. You want to know about folks pulling your card? Ask Roger Goodell what type of male Sean Carter is. I'll leave it at that. You have to understand here that you're not going to be able to reform that. But if you're emotionally vulnerable and you're emotionally broken, then you will get involved in relationships with people who are also emotionally broken. But you're going to try to fool yourself into believing you can rehab that. No, you really can't. No, you actually really can't. You really can't rehab that. You'll drive yourself insane if you attempt to do so. If you were a beta male, would you actually know? That's the question I'm asking you all tonight. If you were a beta, would you actually know you were? Do you believe that money is protection against that? And that's not saying that money doesn't matter. Money damn sure matters. Talking to me. Oh, it damn sure matters. But if you were a beta, would you actually know that you were? Would you, if you were peak value, would you also recognize, yeah, I'm peak value, but I'm also a beta? Would you actually recognize if you were or if you weren't? Because I'm here to tell you right now, everybody around you does. Everybody around you sees it. You might not, but everybody else around you can see that. There are a bunch of folks who don't. And this is one of the most deceptive things that can possibly happen. I say this because there's a bunch of dudes who believe that as long as their money is straight, they couldn't possibly be a beta. And I'm here to tell you, yeah, you can be actually. Yes, you can. You can be a beta. You sure can. Money doesn't immunize you from being a beta any more than looks immunize a woman from being a hoe. Just because you're a cute woman doesn't mean you ain't a hoe. Just because men want to sleep with you doesn't mean that you are wife material. Ladies, just because a man has money doesn't mean that he's an alpha. And just because dudes want to sleep with you, that doesn't mean you're wife material. Having a brutally frank discussion with you tonight. I need folks to share this program. We're having a brutally honest discussion. Because the truth of the matter is that most men today are betas, not some, most. Most men today are. That's just a fact of life. Gonna have to just understand that. Most dudes today are in fact, beta. They are led. They are desperate. They are hoping to get something, whatever they can get. They are easily manipulated. They are socially awkward. They are not used to dealing with anyone from a position of power, much less a female. And because they are introverts, most beta males today become experts at something. They might be experts at video games, IT, computer programming, engineering, software development. They become independently employed. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of betas that because they're on the outside looking in, they actually have to develop an alternative skill set. They actually have to develop alternative skills to be able to operate and function. So they end up operating at a high level in a certain regard. They end up operating at a high level in one regard. But that's the real issue you have to take a look at there. Yeah, they may be at a high level in one regard, but that doesn't mean that everything is all right. That doesn't mean that everything is okay. That doesn't mean that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing either. Just because things may be going a certain way, and you might be happy with it, and some other guy might be happy with it, that doesn't mean that you are not a beta. Money and income do not determine that. That isn't what does it. What does it is understanding where you are. That's what does it. I held tonight's program here because I understand these are going to be some brutal truths we got to lay on you, but I'm going to have to go ahead and just do that. And now I get to say something, of course, that nobody else out there does, but we specialize in it. The telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the foundation that set the groundwork and paved the way for all of your MGTOW, high-value alpha males, so-called red pill posers, imitators, ripoffs, and fabricators. All the principles that they'll be using tomorrow, they are going to get it from us here tonight, but you're getting it first. But the telephone lines are now open. Another thing I want to the ladies listening, to the women listening, ladies, if you have been a woman who has been with a peak value beta, do you have the courage to admit it? If you're a woman and that's been you, post up in my chat room here. Go ahead and call in and then put your area code in the chat room. And I want you to go ahead and call us up. I'm talking about peak value beta males tonight. And that's the majority of the male population right now. The majority of the male population are betas. And if they have a good income, well, they're just peak value betas. But they still are. But this is your opportunity to go ahead and give us a call up. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the business. I would like to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program, either through Super Chat, Cash App, or PayPal. We appreciate that very much. My man Tunde Balagoon, as always, thank you very much for that there. Shin Terrell checking in every week. I appreciate that. DD Heyman, thank you very much for that as well also. And also on Cash App, my man Williams, Edward, and Desmond, thank you very much for your support on tonight's program. Ladies, if you're not afraid to go ahead and admit the truth, I would like some women who have the guts to call up and say, yes, Jason, this is what we do, and more importantly, this is what I do. Are there any women tonight who have the guts to call up and say, Jason, yes, I take advantage of dudes? I want to give you an opportunity, guilt-free, accusation-free. We don't hate. Nobody's going to hold you up for ridicule here. If you are a female and you have played that Kim Kardashian role, You played the role, you got him where you wanted him, and then you sucked the resources out of him. If that's been you, can I get a female to call me up tonight and confess? Can we just have that? Can you just do that once? Can you just one time just go ahead and admit, hey, it is what it is? If you can, I want to give you an opportunity to do that. Let's go ahead and just get that off your chest for you. Don't be shy now. Let everybody know where you're coming from. Gonna go ahead and take some telephone calls here. Let me get caller from area code 678. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Neeran from Stone Mountain. How you doing today?
Neeran from Stone Mountain. What's on your mind, brother?
Two questions. Well, I'll start with the first one. So, what is the solution? Because they're saying that most men are beta males. I mean, I can admit myself, because I grew up being a black nerd myself, so I already knew that I was a beta male. But the definition that I got for beta males were the ones that had the confidence and everything, but they lacked the resources to back it up. And then once you was able to get the resources, you would then come the alpha. And then also beta males, they're usually the second in command. They don't answer to nobody else except an alpha. So what is the solution to becoming that alpha if you are considered, or if you acknowledge yourself as being a beta?
All right. You have to forgive me. I just have an intrinsic response when people ask, what's the solution? Especially to something that seems pretty self-evident. Let's ask you a question here. What are the negative traits, negative characteristics that betas have?
Well, you went over them, the being introverted, the lacking of confidence, but sometimes, I mean, you will, as you said, you have the beta males who are, what's the word that I'm looking for? They're confident in certain regards, except when it comes to social activities.
Okay, what are the components that are missing?
Resources.
So resources make you an alpha?
The confidence combined with the resources make you the alpha. If you have everything to be able to be a producer, but you lack the money or the resources to back everything up, then somebody who is an alpha can come in and just knock you out the box. But so most betas will just play the role of being the second in command until they get the resources. And then once they get the resources, they're like, well, I don't need you anymore because I have everything that you got.
The problem with betas,
big dog on the block.
The problem with betas is that rather than becoming a complete superior version of themselves, they instead try to become everything that they think the woman wants. So as opposed to being the leader in the situation, he becomes the follower. And that's where things go bad. That's where things go off the rail, is when you relinquish your position as leader and you become the follower. Because a woman does not respect a man that she has to lead. She doesn't respect a man who even has the inkling of it. Even if she makes more money than you, your job is to make it very, very clear that the only thing she's got that you don't is money, and that's only for now. And that's only for now. A man is supposed to always make it very, very clear that he leads. And leadership simply means being able to do things that she cannot do. The finances are essential, but to be totally honest with you, you don't necessarily have to make more money than her. You just have to make a self-sufficient amount of it. But the problem with betas is that they believe that they appeal by becoming a chameleon. And instead of being who you really are, you try to become something else. You say, okay, well, let me figure out what it is that she wants, and then I'm going to see if I can become that. as opposed to saying, let me become as powerful as I can be, and she needs to qualify. That's the component that's missing. Now, what you were saying before, and if you all go back and take a look at my program about what is it that makes an alpha male, it's the physical, the social, the intellectual, and the financial. If you are the complete 3-4 dimensions, then you'll be fine. You'll be fine because you're an individual who's staking out life on your own terms by definition. If one of those is missing, you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable. So what's the solution? The solution is don't be vulnerable. The solution is, as a man, you understand if you're deficient. We understand that intrinsically. We know when there are things we don't have. The problem is if we fall into the fallacy that a woman's going to complete that for us. No, you complete yourself, and then she can join this completed structure. But you have to do that part yourself. You can't wait for someone else to bring it to you, give it to you, bestow it on you. You can't do that. And that's the problem. Too many fellas are so afraid of rejection that they believe that they need to just be this chameleon. And what you end up, you're not a chameleon, you're actually a puppet. You don't actually have your own staked out position, so you end up just shifting whatever direction you think she wants. That's wrong. She's waiting for you to set the tone. But if you ain't actually going anywhere, you have no way to set the tone. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 210. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is OG Dansby, and I'm calling from Lake Ridge, Virginia.
OG from Lake Ridge, Virginia. What's on your mind?
Yes, I want to real quick respond to the guy that just called about how do you get out of the beta. The first thing you need to do is identify what a beta is, look back in your life, and figure out everything that you did was beta, and you divorce yourself from that ideology. You got to break yourself away from the societal norms and the social construct that's been put upon us. All the Disney fairy tales where the king saves the prince, the king saves the queen, dismiss yourself from that. Now, the point that I have with you, Jason, is do you believe in the ideology of a blue pill alpha?
Do I believe in the ideology of a blue pill alpha? No. Based on the way that you are saying it, no. And the reason why is because that's a contradiction in terms, which is my whole point here.
Yes.
It's a contradiction in terms. I understand that some other folks have been bandying that term about because they saw me correct them. And so after all these years and all those books and claiming that they got their philosophy and ideology nailed down, I had one program where I said, no, just because, no, you're not defining an alpha correctly. You can actually be an alpha at your job. You can be an alpha in your profession and beta at everything else. Then he had to go back and start rewriting his own philosophy. And now he's trying to have programs talking about that because he spent all these years claiming he had the definition and then realized at the last minute, all it took was me a couple of minutes to show, that's not a complete ideology. It's actually flawed. So no, he's bandying that term around now, and because he understands he was wrong, that he doesn't have a complete ideology. No, that's a contradiction in terms. Blue pill alpha. No, you cannot be.
Now, when it comes to like let's take Will. No, we'll use Russell. You put Russell up there, Russell Wilson, right? He is a leader of men, right, on the football field. He's always one of the guys that's looked at as MVP, In that aspect, he's viewed an alpha. But at home, he's more subservient for what has been displayed in the media. So because I know I'm in the military myself, And I know plenty of guys that are like hard charging, rough and tough, and then when their wife comes around, they become second in command.
Well, yes, because he's the master of industry. He is a master of physical combat. He's a master of his profession, but he's not a master of his emotions. He's looking for someone else. He's looking for someone else to complete him emotionally. He's looking for someone else to be in charge, which is why dudes raised by single mothers, they tend to, expect a female to complete them emotionally. They expect them to fill in that mommy role. Let's be very clear. That's what Kris Kardashian did. That's why she keeps sending her daughters out to get these black males raised by single mothers, because she knows once they ring them in, she gets to be their surrogate mom. Which is, by the way, wasn't that what Kanye was calling her when she first got there? She establishes herself as that matriarch, and they go for it.
Yeah.
So what happens is you end up leaving where you were and entering their structure. Now they got you.
Now, do you think with that Kanye and Kim thing, it came to a boiling point for Kim because he wanted to move to Wyoming and that's not the lifestyle she wanted to live?
Kim Kardashian is I will not give her a number ranking. I will simply say it's not a 10. Before she went and got her surgery, that was not a 10. But she knows that Negroes are color struck. She knows Negroes are color struck. She knows Negroes are color struck. So she played on that. I'm not going to hate on her for that part, but I'm just like, I see what you did there. She knows that. But let's just be very, very clear. Kim Kardashian, at the age she was at, she understood it's now or never. So she jumped on the last train leaving. Just so happens she jumped on the biggest one. She worked her weight up, which is what I said. Hey, that's what you do. She worked her weight up. But brother, she wasn't trying to go nowhere. Kanye was supposed to be the meal ticket. Remember, Kim's mother was married to a rich attorney, Robert Kardashian. Kim was trying to, and her mother has ever since been trying to rebuild that, to turn that into a dynasty. And she's pretty much done it. So Kim had actually achieved the goal that her mother had set out. Brother, she was supposed to coast to the grave with this. This is supposed to be it right here. Why do you think that all of a sudden Kanye, after all these years, he never was fighting over those masters over the last 10, 15 years? Just in the last 3 or 4, all of a sudden he's rabid about getting control of all his masters and all his publishing. Who do you think set that up? Who do you think egged that on? Who do you think was nudging him and putting the subtle pressure that, you know what, I really wish we could get all of it? And so, of course, what is he going to do? Oh, well, I mean, Kris, part of it, but she's taught the daughter. That's the one he's sleeping with. He's sleeping with a woman who has let him know that, you know, you're really cool people. You'd be better if you had all your masters and all your publishing. So what she did, she's been playing upon a deficiency. You don't have your masters and you don't have your publishing. Next thing you know, he's just gone crazy about it. That's not coincidental.
Now, the next thing I wanted to ask you was, do you think Kim Kardashian has the cheat code? Because, you know, she's headed down. She's peaked and she's headed down on the sexual marketplace value. But you see the trend of these NBA players. Scottie Pippen's wife got scooped up and tossed around a little bit. And, you know, they're going to be chasing after Kim no matter how many kids she got. Do you think she actually cracked the cheat code?
No. Not the way you're describing it. Kim Kardashian started declining in her 20s. She had a plastic surgeon and a media machine that got together and basically covered over those cracks. Here's the problem. You can't cover over them anymore. She married Kanye at the right time. She married him at the right time because when she hits 40, and she's hit 40, that's it. The game is over now. The numerals are against you at this point. All she can do right now is get run through. Nobody's going to come along offering $100 million. Nobody's going to do that. Why? Because they know they don't have to. Kanye was the one who saw her from her true peak. I mean, when she was coming down off her peak years, she was in decline after Ray J. She was in decline then. But what she was doing was checking to see which sucker didn't see it, and she finally got the highest value one who didn't see it. She did the smart thing. He doesn't know what he's got, and he doesn't see what my real value is because he's still got nostalgia from back when we met. He's still color struck over what I looked like back when we met or back then. He's been pining for me ever since, and she used that against him. So she was actually on the decline. In this picture of him staring at her then, she was on the decline then. He didn't get it. So she has just been playing the cards close to the vest. But no, that's it. Everybody knows the game. This was the last train leaving. She was not going to divorce this man. At this point right now, there's not a white man who's going to take her off the market. There's not a pro athlete who's looking for a 40-year-old who's been run through by the industry. They're not looking for that. No, this was a 40-year-old with tons of surgery. She is going. We've already seen a precursor for this. Her name is Amber Rose. We've seen this movie.
But you know, Kim has a whole team behind her. Do you think there's a chance that she might be trying to monkey branch and there's no branch on the other side, so she might just stay just like Cardi B did?
No, of course she's going to try. Of course she's going to try to monkey branch. But here's the problem. You can't choose from the options you wish were available. You can only choose from the ones that actually are. So she can want it all she wants to. The time to make that monkey branch was 10 years ago. And she did. She monkey branched from Chris Humphries to Kanye. That was the last monkey branch. That was it. If Beyonce leaves Jay-Z tomorrow, there's not another Jay-Z coming.
If you had to put a percentage on it, what percentage would you put on them actually divorcing? Or is this just another publicity tool?
No, they're going to get divorced. I've been saying that the whole time. They're going to get divorced. Because either she's going to leave or he's going to leave. And that's just it. Kanye has never been able to get over the fact that your woman is on video doing all kinds of things to another dude. That's the definition of emasculation. And he told himself, I can live with this. I can get over this. We'll get past this. You ain't never going to get past that. And she tricked him into believing that it was a different situation, and it's not. I'll let you have the last word.
See, my thing here is from 2020 to now, out of all the celebrities that's been going through divorce, there's only been one male celebrity to file for divorce, and that was Tracy Morgan. That's because he got wind of it, and he wanted to beat her to the punch. And 80% of women file divorce. So, I mean, I see it hard pressed Kanye wanting to let go of a family. Because, you know, men want their family together more than the women do, because the women know by default in divorce court, they're going to get the kids anyway.
Well, in this case right here, Kim has an image to be concerned about and trying to put together a dynasty. And she understands her looks are going to fade. Kanye has a real asset that is not going to fade. Its value is not determined by his physicality or his physical being, and it's getting more valuable as time goes on. Why do you think the record label's fighting him over it now? This was the last train leaving. The problem is the conductor of the train has finally woken up and does not want you on board anymore. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 323. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, hi. Yes, my name is Dee from Los Angeles.
Okay, Dee from Los Angeles. Let's get it straight over there. What's on your mind?
Okay, sorry about that. No, I just had a quick question about Kim. Do you believe that if she had gotten with Kanye when she was younger, before she started to, I guess, hit the wall, do you think that he would be staying with her? Because basically, I know, every woman is going to eventually, her looks are going to fade. So do you think that would have been a different case had she got with him younger and before the sex tape and all that stuff?
Kim Kardashian could have just about any man in that sphere that she wants if it were not for that video. That video is what got her where she is, and it is the reason that she will never get any farther. That's the problem.
Got it. Okay.
That video was the reason that that is what gave her notoriety, but it didn't just make her famous. It didn't give her fame. It gave her infamy. No man is ever going to be able to get over that. They're just not. Because the problem with seeing your woman get flip-flopped on video is you're always going to be asking yourself, did she like it? Does she like it more? Is that really where she wants to be and whatnot? It's just something that just doesn't, it's just not, that's not going to be something you can just push out of your head like that. It just really isn't. And even if you knew for a fact that you were better than this other guy in every other way, there's no such thing as intimacy with this woman anymore. How can you be intimate with somebody that everybody's seen naked? How can it be special for you when literally everybody standing around you can see it? It's not special. And at the end of the day, you can't fool yourself into believing it is. And she desperately needs him to believe it. But over time, it's just chipped. The real problem is he got with her. The real problem is that she married him. She was in a catch-22. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you don't marry him, you will never have access to the resources. But if you do marry him, he will now stop pursuing you. As Kevin Spacey said in was it American Beauty, that once you get something, you cannot desire it anymore. You can desire something so long as you don't have it. How can you desire something that you have? Once he married her, he no longer desires her because he's got you now. And the only thing that's going to keep him there is if you have all those things a man wants. Youth, looks, a clean slate. Now she's lost all of them, and it's right on time. Before now, at least she had the looks. Now even that's beginning to go. So everything that he bought in for, everything he sacrificed for, everything that he's tolerated, all of this humiliation for, is gone now. So the real problem is that was what he bought in for. That was what he wanted. And for a while, he was happy with it. Now you've taken it from him. There's no reason to stay. And that's why he's wilding out on her in public. He doesn't have anything to lose anymore because everything that he bought is gone. Now he just realizes, hell, now I just got an expensive middle-aged problem that I can't get rid of. That's where he is right now. She's 40-something years old, 2 kids. She's not getting any more valuable, but I am. Think about in his position. She's depreciating in value before my very eyes, but I'm getting more valuable. And I'm still hearing about that damn sex video? Do I really have to do this? He's starting to wake up. He's starting to get that Amber Rose situation. And before now, his ego was involved, so he didn't want to really admit how bad it was because, hey, some folks were jeering, but some folks were cheering. Now he doesn't care about the cheering anymore. He is tired of hearing crap from Ray J. He's tired of hearing crap from Nick Cannon and every damn body else. It's been tearing at him and eating away at him, and he wanted her to shut it down, but she didn't do it. But then again, the only thing that could have saved them was the impossible. Her condemning
Kim
them.
wasn't going to shut that down because she loves attention. She wasn't going to shut that down.
Well, she does love attention. That's true. But here's the problem. Even if she did, that wasn't going to make him feel better. At the end of the day, there is a video of your wife's mouth wrapped around another man in high definition. And you are following that. you are not going to be able to release that. You're not going to be able to let that go. You can try to fool yourself into believing that you will. You will never be able to ignore that. I suppose it's possible that a woman could somehow reconcile that for you, but it would be a Herculean task. It would be a tremendous one. And I don't think someone like Kim Kardashian doesn't have that character. She doesn't really have the character, you know. I think she broke down more over losing that earring than she would have over here. It's just not in her to be able to do that. Her mama hasn't taught her how to do that part. But at this point, the game is over. No, this was doomed from the start. You just had a guy who was a beta. He had been pining for her for years. She knew it. She knew how desperate he was. She didn't really want him. She tried to get everybody else. And when all of them failed, she took him last. She tried to play the role, but now he knows it. He knows he was not her first choice. He knows that he was not her best option, or at least emotionally. He knows he's not what she really wanted. And even if he were at this, he knows that now he's her best option. But here's the problem. He no longer believes that she is his best option. And she never was. He just got the memo way, way late. And now he wants a mulligan. He wants a do-over. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 714. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jason, how you doing tonight, man? This is Alan calling from Orange County.
Alan from Orange County. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jason, here's the thing, man. We're talking about Kanye as a beta, but the fact of the matter is, I don't see what a brother ever lost in the situation. I mean, we talk about beta males and alpha males and things like that, bro. But hold on, Jay. It's a thing called pimping. I mean, it's a lot of cats that don't care about whose mouth was around what or anything else like that. Why can't the brother just be happy? Look, who else could he have went out and got that can give him anything that's even comparable to what he had already, Jay?
So let me get this straight. You're saying that you don't think that Kanye 10 years ago could have done better than Kim Kardashian?
No, sir. I don't think a lot of brothers could have.
Dude, what you smoking?
Jason, I ain't smoking nothing. I'm just saying. Kim Kardashian, her mama, her people, and everybody else, they got an empire going on over there. Now, who was he going to go to? Cardi B?
Okay, brother, wait.
Megan
Hold
Thee
on,
Stallion, anybody else?
slow down. Men don't choose women for their resources. What you just said, that's not an accolade. That's not a plus. Who cares? They build an empire. Kanye already had one while they was struggling to get it. While she was hugged up under Ray J, Kanye already had his. She didn't, to say that they built an empire is to say that they were offering him something he didn't have. What did they have that he didn't already have? Tell me that.
Oh, nothing at all, sir. You're correct, but I'm just saying he was looking out at the landscape, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, man, who am I going to get? He wants to get somebody. Maybe the dude had dreams of having a family or something like that. His mom.
Okay, but she's not the one. That's the problem. Look, the thing you have to remember is that a woman's chief job is to be a man's representative. She represents you. She represents the sum total and value of your life. A woman is a man's representative. Now, when your woman is on video doing Debbie Does Dallas,
right?
That's telling people what you're worth. It really is. I mean, it really does tell people what you're worth.
I'm a follower of the code. I've been a Fullerite for the best part of 20 years, man. So when it comes to me and this beta and alpha stuff like that, I'm saying I live in a system of racism, anti-blackness. I don't even call it white supremacy. I divorced. Me and Mr. Fuller disagree on that. But what I'm talking about is this, man. You're living in the POW camp. And for that fact right there ain't no beta and alpha when it comes to my people.
Dude,
people like us, right? So
sir, I mean,
here's the thing.
Okay, that would be the same as saying that there are no hoes and queens.
There ain't. Look, it's just POWs running around
Dude,
this piece, bro. I mean,
sir,
we can agree on that, I'm sure.
Are you seriously telling me that all women have the same value?
No, sir, I'm not.
But that's what you just said. If you refuse to acknowledge that some women are hoes and some, only a few are queens. Some are hoes, some are queens. They are not all the same. Do you acknowledge that?
Well, I'm not using those words, Jay.
Okay, sir. Okay, and that's another thing. That's another thing. You can play semantics with yourself. You cannot do that here. So we're not here.
Okay,
we are not here.
All right.
Nor are we interested in adopting your lexicon. I have no problem with other language you want to use. That's fine. But as far as you trying to create a lexicon here, sorry, I made the dictionary here.
Okay.
So,
all right.
If you're gonna say that we're all the same, no, that's the first thing. Nobody's gonna agree with you on that. No, we're not all the same. Some of us are worth more than others because some of us have not screwed up. Some of us have worked harder. Some of us have tried to be decent human beings and some haven't. No, we are not all the same value. No, you are not going to bring a Nicki Minaj, sit her next to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and tell me that because they're both two black females, they both have the same value. No, they do not. One's a queen. The other one's a whore.
Right. You understand?
Okay, so all women are not the same and all people are not equal. He could have done it. And furthermore, to your point, is Kim Kardashian in the POW camp with us?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, then I don't see how your analogy applies here because the woman we're talking about, she's not even in the POW camp with the rest of us. So his choice has nothing to do with a black perspective.
He got close to Kanye got close to the only thing that you're going to get close to in this world that can make a difference in your life, and it apparently did.
Okay, what is the only thing in this world that can make a difference in your life?
He went to the same place we all go to get our stuff from, white folks. Kanye went right over there to them white people who've got some bullshit going on TV that's lasting for God knows what reason, okay? She could make a videotape with Ray J, put a root in her mouth, and, everything is fine. And I'm saying the brother went over there and did what he did, and
okay, what you're not acknowledging, what you're not acknowledging is
not there.
No, what you're not acknowledging is that his decision is gutter values. And what you're trying to argue is that everybody's got gutter values. And that's not the case. Everybody doesn't have gutter values. He made a decision based on gutter values. And that's what he ended up with. He ended up with a result of gutter values. You can do a lot better than that. I'm not saying she's not a nice person. I'm not saying she's probably otherwise respectable. I'm not saying that she hasn't tried to at least correct some things. But what I am going to say is, baby, you're never going to outstrip that video and the character traits that led you to do that and then following up on it. That's the real problem. Then you didn't just get naked there. You kept doing it. You kept doubling down on it. That's not a character flaw. That's just who you are.
He was gutter too. Jay, he was gutter too.
Sir.
He was gutter too,
okay.
Is what I'm saying.
Okay, I just said that. Did you not understand that? I literally just said that. I wasn't talking. I said let me try this one more time. He had gutter values.
Yes, sir.
He did. She is the result of his gutter standards. Take a look at who he was with before her. He's had a taste for hoes. This is the one who understood how to do it differently than Amber and lock him down.
Pimps have a taste for hoes, and that's what I initially started out with. And there's pimps out here that don't care what their woman is doing.
No, dude, I don't know where you learn this stuff. Pimps use hoes. Pimps don't get played by the hoes. Tricks.
You don't think he used that girl?
Sir, pimps don't get played by hoes. Tricks get played by hoes. Pimps run hoes. Pimps don't get run by hoes. Tricks get run by hoes. I don't believe I have to explain
I just think the boy was crazy.
Dude, was he crazy? Tell me that he was acting like this 10 years ago.
He was, man. He was done when his mama died.
Dude, he wasn't acting like this 10 years ago. And who was he with when his mama died? He wasn't acting like this. That situation exacerbated it because what he needed was a female rock to hold on to. And I'm not going to make direct connections between Kim's behavior and his mother's behavior necessarily, but I certainly believe that there's a template there for it. Because when your son grows up pursuing a certain type of female, it has a pattern of it, and there's a reason for that. But be that as it may, no. He had a taste for that.
I can't argue with you. I can't argue with you, Elder. I was just trying to throw in maybe that idea into the mix. Everything you're saying is correct, man. I never had a problem with anything that you talk about, bro.
Here's the problem we run into.
I appreciate your commentary. I'm just saying, I just thought that may be a twist, and you straightened me out.
No,
so I'm good.
Here's the problem with it. The problem with it is that once we achieve as men, once we achieve a certain level of success, it can, if you are not properly calibrated, it can make you blind. It can make you blind. Kanye got with a chick who was known in the industry, and he mistook that for value. Because he's got value and Amber Rose had value. He mistook that we have value. It's like, oh, no, dude. You have value. She's got infamy. Kim has value, but this isn't really something you want to commit to. Because at the end of the day, you're raising her value. He took it in his head that she was raising his. He's just now in the last 3-4 years realized, no, you raise hers. You're raising hers, and she's made out. Now she's got you. And I don't necessarily think that was a plot from the beginning. I think she wanted to stay married to him. But be that as it may,
I think that too. I believe that too.
I think her mother, that's where her mother raised them. I think because we don't know if Kanye's peaked yet. We don't know that. Remember, case in point, Ice Cube. Imagine if Ice Cube's wife had stayed married to him for 5 or 7 years and then left. Imagine if she had done that.
Right.
Imagine if she had done that. Think about what she would have missed out on and figuring, okay, well, that's big. Same thing with Dre. His wife stuck around till he got the $1 billion deal from Apple. Okay, now you can divorce him.
Big bro, Dre had an aneurysm just now because of what she did to him.
You know, I'm reluctant to draw connections between
you on
those.
YouTube, so don't do it. But
I'm reluctant.
That's what I think.
No, I'm saying I'm reluctant to draw connections between things like that. But what I will say is, I certainly don't think it helped. I certainly don't think that helped anything at all. And I'm not gonna even say she's a bad person because it's not like we heard anything bad about this woman. Period. It's not like we heard anything
we didn't
bad.
hear nothing about her.
It's not like she's been there for decades. It's not like she's been giving him hell for the last 20 years. It's not like that's happening. If she were, he would have left. I would have thought he'd be smart enough to leave before now. So that's not the case. But what I will say is that I certainly don't think that kind of thing has helped. I really don't think it is. And, fellas got to start taking this as a cautionary tale. We have to start taking this as a cautionary tale.
Well, do we have to raise another point, Jason? And that being that maybe when it comes to the non-white female, we have to throw the terms beta male and alpha male just out the window because we're just doing shit that's all out of control.
When it comes to non-white females?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, non-black females.
No, won't say that either. And the reason being, I don't really try to police people's, interpersonal habits in that regard. Do we live in a system where a lot of black males are color struck? Absolutely. Do they give non-black women a pass for stuff that they wouldn't give a black woman an inch for? There's an argument to be made for that. Sure. Had Kim Kardashian been black, would Kanye have let her make a video and then marry her? I don't think so. If Kim Kardashian had been Meg the Stallion, and there's a video of her sitting up here getting tag teamed by G-Eazy and Justin Bieber, no, she's not getting married. She's not getting married to nobody. Certainly a nigga ain't gonna wait around 10 damn years to be last in line. So no. If Kim Kardashian were Lapita, this ain't happening. This isn't happening.
No.
It's not going to occur.
No.
I'm just gonna tell you like it is. But by the same token, he would have found one. Now he might not have, here's the thing, he might not have married her, but tell me that he wouldn't have taken up with her. And on the low,
now how much
he would have.
How much does this have to do with the fact? How much does this have to do with the fact? And then this is where it gets real right here. That you can look at that brother and tell he's just off a little bit.
Well, I certainly think that the situation, what has happened here, and you saw this with Michael Jackson, you saw it with Prince. You know, when you're a celebrity at a high level, man, you're in a different world. You're in a different world.
Right.
You're in a world where literally everybody's a damn yes man. How do you convince somebody that they're wrong when literally everyone around them is constantly telling them whatever they think they want to hear? So understand, his life is not ours at all. You and me have to pay for stuff when we go somewhere.
Mine. No, it's definitely not mine. No, sir.
I mean, you and me have to pay for stuff. Think about this. As rich as he is, the richer you are, the less you pay for. You go to a hotel, you don't have to pay for valet. Hell, you probably don't have to pay for the room. You go to a casino, you ain't got to pay for nothing. His life is totally separate from ours. It's totally indistinguishable. It's totally distinguished from ours.
I can't imagine it, and that's the truth.
So think about whenever somebody gets to know him, they're not going to say anything he doesn't want to hear. Sway was probably the last damn time anybody said something he didn't want to hear. That's probably the last time he heard something he didn't want to hear. And other than that, brother, he doesn't have anybody who's in his ear telling him the truth about anything. They just want to know what he wants to hear. Oh, your crazy ass clothing line? Great idea. Yellow hair? Sure, go ahead and do that. Whatever enters his brain, you've had situations where when you say something silly and stupid, people look at you crazy and like, dude, do you hear yourself? Kanye left that world 15, 20 years ago. Nobody thinks anything that he has done.
Me and my partner talk about it too, and I can't.
He's had his every whim reinforced.
I have a great job, but I do have to go in for mine. Yeah.
Well, he's had every whim reinforced for 20 years. Nobody's checked him on anything. Yeah. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 612. You're on live with the business.
Miss Rudy. Miss Rudy was awesome. I love Miss Rudy. I'm going to tell you, we're like, Miss Rudy, can we do this? And she's like, well, no, technically you can. I guess, Miss Rudy. Say it again. Hey, you there? Quick question. First time caller, thank you for having me. How can the educational cabal be navigated because people don't understand the calendar agenda in education?
I have one question to ask. How long have you been out of rehab?
As long as you have. Next question.
Okay. Well, certainly they haven't taken you back. If anybody wants to get him off of Skid Row out there, he's available. Caller from area code 321. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, this is Antoine.
Okay, take your phone off a speaker.
Yeah, so this is Antoine from Florida. You're absolutely correct on everything. I'm waiting for when you think Sierra is going to break from her beta male. One more thing before I say that. When you said you need to be an alpha male, I think a lot of dudes get confused because to be an alpha male, you're supposed to own everything that you like. A lot of these beta males, they might be nerds, and they're embarrassed. They hide the fact you're supposed to own that. Like, I like nerdy shit, but I own it, and I never had a problem. I like anime. I used to hear dudes say, "Oh, girls don't like anime," and I used to own it, and I still get girls. That's when I realized when you own who you are and don't care, they see you as the alpha.
Well,
hello?
To your first question, my prediction has pretty much been stable Ciara's gonna leave Russell when he can't play. Remember what I taught you all from the very beginning. With the business, women stay not when they are certain. They stay when they are uncertain. And they leave when they are certain. When a woman is certain that you have peaked and there's nothing more she can get and she's seen the best you have to offer, get ready, she's going to leave. But when she's not sure, if she's not sure you're done, if she's not sure she's seen the best, if she believes there's still some winnings left on the table, if she's not certain you're through, she's going to stick around. And in Ciara's case, she understands this is the last train leaving. She's going to play this very carefully. She's not going to go anywhere until she is sure that Russell is done. And when she's sure that he can't play anymore and he can't produce anymore, because let's be very, very clear, Russell Wilson has produced nothing but football. Take that away from him and what do you have? So as long as she is unsure that he's done with football, she's going to stick around. As soon as she's sure that he's done, she's going to start looking for the exits.
She did by making him pay for her masters to get her masters. You see that check that chess move she did?
I think that was a rumor. I think that was a rumor that was debunked. I don't think that actually happened. But here's the real thing: he's given her something more powerful and more valuable than her masters. He's given her a second lease on life. Her career was over. True. Her career was done. Russell Wilson breathed life into her. She's doing ads for CoverGirl or Weight Watchers or somebody, some Amazon, something. He gave her a second lease on life. But that was what she really wanted, was something separate and apart from him. Now she's got that. So that's it right there. And now being with him is what solidifies it, because she has an image now. So as long as she's married to Russell, the endorsements will keep coming. But he's only Russell Wilson as long as he can play. And the other thing is, take a look at her age and then take a look at his. How much longer is he going to be able to play? He very well could end his career while she's still in her 30s. And in a woman's mind, as long as she's still in her 30s, she still has the potential of getting one more shot at another producer. So in her case, what does she have to lose? The odds are that he'll no longer be able to play while she's still in her 30s, and she'll figure she's got one more round, and she can do it financed on him now.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you very much for giving us a call.
I think he comes.
Let me get caller from area code 510. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Tresfay Williams, calling out of Bethesda, Maryland.
Tresfay calling out of Bethesda. What's on your mind?
Well, I remember you saying that, maybe some years back, you were saying that Kim Kardashian was gonna divorce Kanye. Like, how did you know? Like, what was the hints?
What was the hints? Hell.
Yeah, like.
What was the hint? A man never forgets how he met you. That was the first hint. Mm-hmm. A man never forgets how he met a woman. He might overlook it because there's something that he wants. Okay, so he's got to do that. If he's sexually motivated, when a guy is sexually motivated, he don't give a damn what's going on. There's something he wants. But first and foremost, a man never forgets how he met you as a woman. He never forgets how he first saw you. Why do you that is the very basis of nostalgia. Nostalgia is basically the lingering first impression. That's nostalgia. So Pam Grier, Vanessa Williams, Jasmine Guy, a man never forgets how he met you. And he'll hold on to that. Kanye never forgot how he met her. This was really the first exotic chick who gave him the time of day. And he convinced himself that she was a 10. And he never let it go. And they saw it. And their mother taught them how to be just shameless about it. And it worked. It worked. Look, bottom line is, he was a mark, as they call it in the business. He was a mark. Mm-hmm. And she saw he was a mark. That's how I knew. He was a mark. He might be in the music business, but you're a mark in the music business. And this woman is so obviously calculating, which means there's something from you that she wants. And when she gets it, she doesn't need you anymore. But the other thing is, number one, you never forget how you met her. And number two, it was never going to stop bothering him. And I saw early on that he was still upset with Ray J because of Ray J's remarks when they first got together. Remember when Ray J put that song out? You know, Kanye was upset about that. That was my first clue. This ain't gonna last. I'm like, dude, you just let Ray J know that bothers you. And Ray J very clearly doesn't want to let her go. So you are basically giving him the means to break up your marriage. He's going to work that wedge and work it and work it and work it and troll you because there's nothing else he can do. And that's exactly what he did. As long as this bothers you, people are going to keep messing with you. And he never demonstrated to me even once that this stopped bothering him. You can put on all the airs you want to, all the clothes you want to. You can try to look as confident as you want to. At the end of the day, you know what she is. And you've never forgotten. And you've never forgiven. And there's nothing she can do to rectify this. Absolutely nothing. She is always going to be everybody's chick. Because everybody's seen her naked. Doing who knows what. When that happened, it's like, no. This will not last. You don't have to be Kanye West for that. It doesn't even matter that it's Kanye. This could be any man. Why do you think it is that chicks who go into adult films can't get married? Certainly can't stay married. They can't do it because the men never forgot how they met you. They never forgot what you really are. And when a woman is sexually promiscuous and loose and disreputable, that speaks to you. How can you value her sexuality when it's a cheap commodity? How can you do that? And at the end of the day, that's a critical component of the woman who's going to be your wife and bear your children. That's going to be critical. That access to her womb is an exclusive right. And you can't feel like that when her womb is literally on video with some dude that you don't get along with sitting up here talking, man. You're not going to get over that. So it was just a matter of time. It was a matter of time. I saw that he was devious. I saw he was desperate. I saw this was just really an accomplishment that he really wanted to clear, but it wasn't worth it. And ultimately it won't be. The best that these two could ever do is stay married with him giving her hell for the rest of her life for what she did. He'll never get over that. Ray J is going to be 90 damn years old, like Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence in life, still picking at Kanye. Ray J is never going to forget, because in Ray J's mind, you got to understand, in Ray J's mind, Kim Kardashian, that was the last chick who was worth a damn that he was ever with. He never got over that. And because of that, he doesn't want anybody else. He couldn't keep her, but he doesn't want anyone else to have her either. So he has nothing to lose by trolling. It was all downhill for him after that. That was emasculating. He made the video with her and nobody talked about him. They talked about her. And then she left him. And it was so obvious that she left him and dropped him. And it wasn't like she got some scrubs. She went and got better than him. She totally emasculated him. Totally castrated him. So he's just been he's worse than the hoes are. And that's not going to stop happening. His life is defined by Kim Kardashian. His life is before Kim and after Kim. It was 2 phases. Everything before her and everything after. And because he's never been able really to define himself outside of it. And as long as he can't do that or is unable to do that, and he doesn't have anything. And then Kanye would have to reconcile that this guy is just never going to quit doing this. And that was just too high of a hurdle to get over. That was not going to happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes plenty of sense. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 360. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm calling from Washington State.
Chris calling from Washington. Where at in Washington, sir?
Vancouver, Washington.
All right, brother. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to ask you a question. How is Kanye West valuable besides his masters?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me ask you a question. Do you know what it is that makes a man valuable?
Well, you were talking earlier about he was valuable because of his masters, and that's why she was holding on to him. But Kanye West hasn't been a star in years. Now, that's the only thing I'm saying. He's valuable as far as his masters are. Yeah, he still can make money like that. But
okay, first of all,
valuable. He's not a star.
You need to go back and watch my program about what it is that women admire about a man, or why a woman admires a man. You need to go back and take a look at that video. Clearly, you haven't seen it.
So why does she admire?
Okay,
why does she admire
slow
him?
Down.
I'm not taking up at all
brother,
for
slow
Kim
down.
Kardashian, but why does
Sir,
she admire
let's not.
him?
Whoa, hold on a second. Let's not do that. Do not talk over the host. You can hear me loud and clear.
Oh, no disrespect.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm answering your question. You asked what makes her valuable. You asked a question and then you want to start monologuing. You asked what makes her valuable. Number one, for everybody listening here, I had a program I did about what is it that women admire about men. First and foremost, you all want to go see that one because that's a fully fleshed out explanation of what it is that women admire about a man. But the first thing is that the most valuable asset, the most important thing to human beings, and I've told you all that there's a study that confirmed this. The most important thing to human beings is status. Not money, not wealth. Status is the most important thing to people. Kanye West has status. He is an historical figure, not just in music, but in Americana. Barack Obama talked about him. The mainstream media, Kanye West is an historical figure, period. Worldwide, not just in America.
And I don't get how you see. Can I interject something? I don't see how you see that. Just because Barack Obama shouted out his name.
Okay, let me try this a different way, sir. It doesn't matter if you personally like him or not. If you say the name Kanye West anywhere from Columbus, Ohio to Spain, is there anybody who doesn't know who you're talking about?
But that's not.
Whoa! Slow down.
Okay, I'm going to get to another point.
Slow down.
This is another.
Whoa! Excuse me, brother. Whoa! You're way out of line. Excuse me. I asked a question. If you say Kanye West's name anywhere from Ohio to Spain, do they know who you're talking about?
Okay, but
sir,
you're
that's
right
a yes.
You're right about that.
That's a yes or a no question.
Yeah, I said you're right about that.
Okay.
I said you're right about that.
That is status. When the president of the United States knows you on a first name basis, whether he likes you or not, that is status. Now, maybe you don't like it and nobody cares. The point is that's status.
No, I got nothing against that, man. I got nothing
Okay,
against
then
that.
you have
But
to
is he
accept
relevant?
the
Is
reality.
Is that a good question?
If-
Is he relevant still?
When presidents, plural, because it's not just Obama who knew who he is. Every president only a couple of presidents know who I am. Obama's one of them. But every president living knows who Kanye West is. And presidents around the world, none of them know who you are. And I don't mean that in a demeaning way. I'm saying, dude, you know who the president is. The president doesn't know who you are. Kanye West knows who the president is, and the president knows who he is. That's relevant. That's the very definition of relevance. If you don't think that's relevance, then you are clearly ignorant of what the word means. And we're going to stop and have you Google the word relevant so you can figure out what that word means.
Well,
What you're really
clearly
saying
see
is,
who's a Kanye West fan. I see that.
sir, no, that got nothing to do with being a fan. I'm not a fan of Taylor's. I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. The president knows who she is too. Clearly, you're just at war with reality. This has nothing to do with whether you like these people or not. These words have meanings. They have definitions, whether we like them or whether we don't.
Hey,
Kanye West is the definition
Jason,
of relevant.
I never argued that point.
Yes,
I don't know
you
where
did.
You left that, man, but I
Yes,
never argued that
you
point.
have. Kanye West is the very definition of relevant. Yes, he is. The very fact that you have called me up tonight is proof that he is relevant. The very fact you're on my phone discussing him. If I could call him up, he would never discuss either one of us. The very fact you're on my phone and called me up about him means even you are acknowledging his relevance. Right after you just said, well, he really ain't that relevant. He's relevant enough to get you to call me.
I had a question about Kim Kardashian and why you thought he was valuable. We got far.
No, you asked why he was valuable. He's valuable enough to get you to call me.
Oh wow. Okay. All right, Jason. So can we get on to another
valuable enough. He's valuable enough. You were
is-
compelled to call me on a random Tuesday. So how valuable is he? He's that valuable.
Okay. Can I ask you another question, brother?
Yes, you can ask one more question.
Now, Kanye West is not only he's not exempt from watching this tape. He's seen the tape of this girl and what she was doing on camera. So it's on him to get with this woman and wife her. Can we agree on that?
What is your point? Let's get there quickly.
Because you said he has a problem with it. He still has an issue with it, and he's going back to it, and he's mad at that fact. But he's seen the tape already. He's seen that tape.
And he's still talking about it. He's okay, and I said this already, he's having buyer's remorse. He thought he could handle it, and he didn't. There was something that he really wanted really bad. He did whatever he had to do to get it because he's single-minded and obsessed. He achieved the object of his obsession, and now he has buyer's remorse because he realizes that his obsession was more valuable than the object of his obsession. He fell in love with the struggle and the chase. Now that he's caught her, he realizes that the chase was more valuable than the capture. And the fact
that he did that for ego, because at the time she was the hot chick.
Well, the bottom line is that she was, in his mind at the time, she was worth chasing. Now that he's had a chance to think about it, all of his complaints about her, all the triggering that is done, goes back to that video. Now, that's the bottom line. At the end of the day, he's still triggered by that video. He's still triggered by dudes alluding to it. He's still upset about that, and understandably so. At the end of the day, it's still bothering him very much now. That's it.
But but my point was like it shouldn't bother him because he watched the tape. He knew what kind of female she was. And he still went ahead with his plan on going after her.
Okay.
But now he's in his feelings about it.
Let's try this a different way. Are there any circumstances under which you would be okay with dudes passing around, your wife's ex-boyfriend passing around a video of him doing the wham bam boogie on her, and you just say, well, I married her, so I'm all right? Are there any circumstances under which you could do that?
I'm saying
you're describing that for Kanye.
No, brother, that's my point.
Tell me, how does a man get there?
He's seen this video first.
Okay, we all saw the video first. The problem is he fooled himself into believing he could, that she was worth overcoming that. And instead, that was the chase he was after. So no, watching the video didn't make it any one bit better. He was more focused on acquiring her than he was. And at the time, the video was actually leveraged in his favor because dudes wasn't trying to marry her. After with Reggie Bush onward, nobody was really trying to keep her like that. And then her values.
The onus is on him, though.
Well, okay, the onus is on him, but at the end of the day, I mean, he doesn't want it. And that's what I mean. That's the definition of buyer's remorse. You might want to look that term up too. This is called buyer's remorse. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Good grief. Some folks just don't get it. Caller from area code 541. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm calling from Tacoma, Washington.
Christine from Tacoma, Washington. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I usually just listen to The Business to understand the power dynamics. I'm not interested in dating. And just to piggyback on your last conversation, how Kanye is triggered by that video, but I kind of think Ray J is triggered by it also because I think he wanted to use that video to kind of like make him a lot more popular in the industry, and it ended up launching her career. And then from that point, she ended up getting with, football player, and now the major prize is Kanye West. Because like you said, everybody knows who he is, whether you listen to his music or not. Even if you know Taylor Swift, you know Kanye West, and her career is forever impacted by what happened, what he did to her on stage that year.
Well, I mean, definitely once again, it's buyer's remorse in this case right here. For Ray J, it's buyer's remorse also because ultimately he got with a chick who was a climber. He got with a chick who was looking for a leg up and a come up. And Ray J was always a stepping stone to get to somebody else. He was never going to be permanent. And that's when he holds against her, is he knows he was being used by her to get herself elevated. So she's made an enemy for life in him. Thank you for giving us a call. Let me get a caller from area code 413. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey man, my name's Josh and I'm from Springfield, Mass. And I want to say the work like the show.
Okay.
And, hey,
you need to get your phone straightened out.
All right. What about now?
Okay. Josh from Springfield, Massachusetts. Okay, Josh, what's on your mind? Okay, Josh, I don't know what's going on in your phone, brother, but try to give us a call back later. Let me get caller from area code 864. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Larry. I'm calling from South Carolina.
Larry, calling from where at in South Carolina?
Greenville.
Larry from Greenville, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so I wanted to speak about that relationship dynamic with the Kanye and Kim, and speaking about a man never forgets how he met you. I know that everyone is aware of like the tape and all of that, but prior to that, Kanye actually met Kim in like 2004 when she was working as a clothing stylist with Brandy, and him working in the studio with her and like on the video set and all of that, and that was prior to her even dating Ray J. So she's forever been that social climber situation. So he actually met her. She was the help. So it was a situation where he's gotten to watch her rise up through the ranks and continuously grow. And at a certain point where she had all this status and his desperation to be a power couple, I really felt like he paired with her as a way to kind of like checkmate, to see himself as the ultimate prize. Like, oh, now she reached a point where getting with me is the final boss move. Like, this speaks to me being that dude. And I really feel like he ran with that, and this is why he's in the situation now. Like,
it's the ultimate version of game, though. It is the ultimate version of game, and she played it very well. You know, the most masterful people are the ones who look like they are subservient, like you're the one bossing them, when in reality, them allowing you to do that is a part of their plan. Remember what I told you all, the number one rule of salesmanship is to convince the customer that the decision to buy was theirs and not yours. Kanye West has chased her so hard because she convinced him. She was putting him off and everything else until it got to a point where he convinced himself that his pursuit of her was his idea and not something that she had maneuvered him into. And once the whole point of doing that, the power of convincing the customer that the decision to buy was theirs and not yours, is that once the customer owns the decision, you won't be able to break them of it. You ain't got to try to sell them anymore. They now own the decision. They own the drive. They own the obsession of doing so. So once she got him to make it his decision, she didn't have to sell him anymore. He was now thoroughly convinced this was his idea, rather than the fact that you're dealing with some Armenian chick from a very manipulative family who knows how to push impressionable Negroes' buttons. But if you are unwilling to admit and acknowledge that you are an impressionable Negro and that they are pushing a button that you don't really want to admit you got, then you're helpless and you're vulnerable. And that was what happened. She was laying in the cut the whole time. Her mother put her in position where she could meet all of these people organically. And that's what got them to drop their defenses and drop their guard. So she's surrounded by all these peak value beta males who don't really know that's what they are. What Ray J has been doing now for a decade is the epitome of beta. And you and I both know that. But they don't know it. The guys exhibiting the behavior don't know it, but they did. The girls did. The Kardashians saw it. It's the guys who didn't see it. And they still don't. Now, I don't even think that Kanye sees it today. I think he's just unhappy with the situation. But I don't think he sees the connection between Amber Rose, Kim Kardashian, and the fact that he keeps repeating this behavior. So at the end of it, no, her mother put her in position where she could organically encounter all of these people and rub elbows with them, and then started rubbing other parts. And I'm pretty sure her mama told her, look, you do whatever you got to do to get this fella somewhere, but we need to make some connections. And it worked. This was part of her mother's plan, and it worked. These guys are the ones who didn't get it. And they're screwed up for life in a lot of cases here. They're screwed up for life because they believed that they were moving the chess pieces. They believed that they were running her. They believed that she was there at their mercy. They believed that the decision to let her in was their decision rather than something that she maneuvered and something that she manipulated.
Engineered.
So now that she's in, and once they open the door, you can't kick her out anymore. You know, that was it. Once you did that, was it.
I definitely got to get your take on this perspective, being that we're in the present now and we're watching this play out with Lori Harvey. Do you think that this is going to go a similar route with her, where she's just going to like keep going for some more dudes, or is it going to be like, you know, she's going to like kind of stop at a certain point anytime soon?
Okay, Lori Harvey is what, 24 years old? She's not even 25 years old yet. There's been a lot of attention put on her.
Very selective about who she's with.
Well, there's been a lot of attention put on her, but there's something you got to remember, man. You got to remember that with that being the case, man, she's still young. Okay? These other women we're talking about, they got a bunch of miles on them. They have a bunch of miles. They have a bunch of dudes who run through them. Lori Harvey is still young. And in her case, I would be more optimistic. Why? Because she's, like right now, I think she's talking to, or at least smiling in the face of Michael B. Jordan. Now compare him to the dudes she's been dealing with. Let's just be totally honest. Most women, in particular black women, they sit up here and wait till they're in their damn 40s to get out their hoe phase, and then we'll talk about, okay, I want to be a housewife. In her case, if all she did was 3 or 4 years of dealing with, quote, bad boys, and she got that out of her system, do you realize how far ahead of the game she is compared to the average female? You realize how far ahead she is if she's actually done with that. She's actually doing pretty damn good when you think about it. I mean, her mother has obviously been an influence on her, so of course I would be expecting some foolery. But at the end of the day, if the worst that happened was a few years, that's normal, man. What usually happens is these chicks keep going till they're in their 30s and 40s, and the game is over. And there are no men left who really want to invest in them because they burned all their bridges and whatnot. So in her case, if all she did was dabble around for
a man to date her.
Okay,
after.
slow down. If all she did was dabble around for a few years, she's good. At this point right now, I don't see a problem just yet. It's not like she has some kids. Like there's the 3 things you don't want to have. You don't want to have kids, tattoos, or an STD. So she has avoided getting pregnant. She's avoided getting tattoos. And she's avoided an STD or some other permanent thing. She's avoided that. She hasn't done none of that. At this point right now, she's still a clean enough slate. And she's still young enough that she's still got the youth and everything. Because like I say, she's 24 years old. How much we expecting? Now, here's the problem for her. She's in her last year of plausible deniability. When she hits 25, we ain't cutting her no slack. You're not young and goofy anymore. Now you know what you're doing and you're making decisions. So she might turn this thing around in this year right here. She might do it. I'm at this point right now. I can't count her out yet.
So I'm trying to ask you, are you a simp to date her? Like, let's just say after Michael B. Jordan. Like, if you got money and status, like, are you making a wrong move to like get with somebody who's clearly kind of social climbing?
Here's the issue, okay? The issue is that most men today do not make it a point to deal with women from a position of strength. I set up the business so that we could discuss power dynamics. And in most men's interpersonal lives, they don't make it a point to deal with a female from a position of strength. They just try to roll out the red carpet and let me see if I can do everything I think she wants done or be everything she wants me to be. As opposed to saying, this is my plan, this is my program, and you have to qualify for it. We don't know what her situation with Michael is. We don't know what it is. All we saw is a picture. We don't know what they're doing. Michael could just be laying up and get ready to roll out in a minute. We don't know what's going on. So I would advise us not to jump to conclusions about anything. What I will say is the problem with her is, now here's where the problem comes in for Lori Harvey. She's 24 years old, but that body count is starting to get a little high. Now that's the real problem. We know who you've been with, and these numbers are racking up a little fast. Like at this point right now, you going through a dude a year, in some cases probably, and those are the ones we know about. You run around with P. Diddy's little moist ass, it's probably 2 or 3 dudes up in there. So you're going with at least 1 dude that we know of a year, possibly 2. Those numbers are racking up fast. Now that works against her. At the age of 24, that's the part that's working against her. Even if she ain't having sex with all of them, your numbers are getting too high. And you're telling yourself, man, this thing is always going to be yanking. These dudes always going to be here. It's like she's going to slowly migrate over into the untouchable category, and she'll be young and cute and fine and can't figure out why it is that the only thing men want to do is sleep with her. Because we're like, baby, you done been with too many people. You done been with too many. A man should never be able to name the last 3 dudes you had sex with by name, he shouldn't be able to do that. He really should not be able to name them by name. In her case, you can. And what I'm saying is that's the tip of the iceberg. So in her case, I know she's young. Everything else I can give her the benefit of the doubt about. That body count that she currently is racking up with reckless abandon. Now that's what's going to work against her. Because she's following up behind her mama now. And that's not going to be something that people want. That's not going to be something that a producer wants. There's too many other females who still have their youth and plausible deniability. Lori doesn't even have that anymore. And I think what happened is she got famous. She's famous for being famous, but she got very famous real fast. Didn't know how to handle it. Jumping from one dude to another because you want to be seen. And in the process, you are taking absolutely no notice whatsoever of the fact that we see you. So I'm afraid that that's what's going to get her. Not the first part you were talking about. That is an issue. But I think what will ultimately get her is, by the way, how many dudes you been with again?
Maybe she's thinking like a man, like her dad told her.
Well, I mean, I think she's thinking like her mom. That's the problem. And, of course, Steve Harvey is not helping. I think she's thinking like her mom. I think that's who she's taking after. I think she's thinking like him. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 785. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you're calling from? Caller from 785. Last try. You're on live. Caller from 785 has been abducted. Let me try caller from 612. Have you gotten your phone straightened out?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you doing better now?
No, it's my first time calling in. I didn't call before.
Okay, take your phone off speaker.
Yeah, I'm off speaker.
All right, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Mike. I'm calling from Minneapolis.
Okay, Mike from Minneapolis. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just want to talk about the what we saw the last week with the old riots and all the stuff leading up to it. I just want to point out
you're calling on the wrong program, brother. Pay attention. Caller from area code 630. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Man, what's good with you, bro? This Ed, man, from Chicago, Chirac.
Ed from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Not much, man. See, man, what I'll be listening to some of the guys, man, you got to give them a little break, man. There's still a lot of simping going on, even in 2021, man. They don't get it, bro. First and foremost, you know what I'm saying? That whole Kardashian circle they known for coming up off the successful black athletes, entertainers, rappers, so on and so on. When she got with Ray J, like you stated in the thing, that was a come up for her. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, I didn't understand a guy like Kanye being in the position that he in. I don't understand how you sent for that. First of all, if your girl on camera for the whole world to see her with meat in her mouth, she for the streets, bro. You know what I'm saying? That could be unfortunate that happened, bro. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it got out there. And I don't know why guys go in thinking that's something that they can handle. But, bro, the whole world is able to see that shit, bro.
Well,
but I always
it wasn't just that, though. It wasn't just that. The video was bad enough. What compounded it is the fact that she got passed around after that. Now, we understand she was climbing, but the problem is, okay, first Ray J, then Reggie Bush, you all laying on his back and stuff. And then the professional athletes, and you know how that goes. You know, and the problem is the video by itself was bad enough. And if there was a chance of being able to reconcile that, you killed it by following up with all these athletes. You're not giving yourself a chance to let any of these memories fade. She just immediately went from Ray J to Reggie Bush, and off we go. You never gave anybody a chance to fix that. So you never gave him a chance to forget how he met you.
Yeah, and I just think he fell in love with her, like most guys do. Pretty woman comes. See, the thing I don't understand about these guys is you work so hard to become the best version of yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Man, you on top, your record sales is booming, your shoes, your clothes, and then you go throw that all away on the spot. I never understand these athletes and rappers. It's so many girls that were available to him that wasn't even on camera fucking big.
Because
that's my whole thing.
This is why I'm doing tonight's program. Tonight's program is called Peak Value Beta Male. Because just because you are the best in the world at your profession, you cannot confuse your professional excellence as being part of personal excellence. That's the problem we run into.
Fact.
Just because you're good at your job and your job has what the society associates alpha male aspects with being, that does not give us a clear view of what you are emotionally. At the end of the day, Kim Kardashian's mother is one of the most calculated. She's like Olenna Tyrell from Game of Thrones. She's a very calculating, very emotionally disciplined, very analytical person when it comes to men. She knows how to size up men left, right, and center. What mom doesn't have is the youth anymore. Mom don't have the youth and the looks, but what she does have is the savvy, the insight, and the wisdom. And that's why she tells the daughters, you say this and you say that, and then you do this over here. And next thing you know, you got them. And it works. It's worked every single time. You don't have the success rate that them girls have, and it's by accident. They were mentored by someone who knows what she's doing. The problem is she knows how to pick the guys. She knows how to pick guys who can be easily dominated. That's why you tell the daughter, you go after Kanye, don't go after Jay-Z. He's going to be too hard of a target to get. Don't try for Drake. He's looking for something different. Kanye is the one you can get. He's the one who will move mountains. That's the one you go for. Travis Scott, hey, Kylie, whatever you name it, you go for him. That's the one you go for there. These moves were too well done to be for them to have worked it out. So the real thing is, I call tonight's program Peak Value Beta Male because how much money they've made at their profession has absolutely no bearing on their emotional deficiencies. And they are emotionally deficient. Artistically, they are the best in the world. Emotionally, they are pushovers. And that's really what it is.
Well, yeah, and a lot of that could come. Usually, when you find a man that's very emotional like that, that's emotionally led, they haven't had a father figure in their life. That's usually the type of guys that are emotionally led. They haven't had a real father figure in their life. You know what I'm saying? It's just nowhere in hell, like me personally, like with the amount of success, that I can obtain, and then I go choose a woman. It just don't make no sense to me. But even with us saying what we saying about Kim, just as well as I know, when he divorce her, whatever he get done doing with her, somebody gonna come right along and marry her again.
I doubt it.
That won't be the last marriage.
I don't. She may get remarried, but it will not be another Kanye. It won't be.
No, I doubt that.
It won't be another Kanye. It's gonna be like her mama. Her mama understands something. You know the saying, if you want to see what a female is gonna be, take a look at her mom. Take a look at what Kris Kardashian ended up with. She literally ended up with the damn pool boy. Now she's got a Negro boy toy, but that's it. She never got another producer after Robert Kardashian. She recognized the mistakes she made, but she was too old to be able to correct them. So Kim's going to end up the same way. Yeah. Take a look at her. She's following the same blueprint. No, she didn't cheat on Kanye as far as we know, but the marriage is imploding regardless. And her mother can't teach her how to deal with divorce better than she did. And Kim is too old now. She's not that fresh-faced 20-something-year-old we all met. Fresh face from the plastic surgeon. She's over 40 now. So she doesn't even have the tool set to go back
And
out
then
in the marketplace
if
she
you
had
think
before.
about it too, if this pertains to what your show is about, if you think about it, this is a good time for her to divorce him. She's peaked off him. She's reached the highest, one of the good peaks in her life by being at Kanye. So honestly, it makes sense to divorce now. You done got all the clout from him now.
Well,
She don't need him no more.
unfortunately, that's not true. Because Kim Kardashian doesn't have any other talents. She can't cash in on her looks anymore because we've reached the end of the plastic surgery's ability to keep that face up. So in reality, no, the goal, like I say, the goal was always to ride this pony into the sunset. And divorce was never supposed to be in the cards because that was part of her image for television and whatnot. If you remove Kanye from the equation, who is she? Who is she? Oh, you're the chick who's on video with Ray J. She doesn't have any other skills. She doesn't have any other talents. She's just a spoiled brat. She doesn't have anything else. So in reality, no, she still very much needs him.
Name is a well-known brand.
It's a well-known brand. No, the Kardashian name is a well-known brand based upon who they are with, not based upon themselves. At the end of the day, they still need to have that proximity to celebrity power. Kanye was the best thing they could have done. A super relevant individual in the industry. At this point, a living legend. And all she had to do is just exactly what she wanted to be. All she has to do is just get up in the morning and say hi. That's it. All she has to do is get up and say, hi, I'm Mrs. Kanye West. And that's it. It doesn't get any easier. Promoting her brand was damned easy. It's about to become damn hard.
What I didn't understand about him is he knew better with Amber Rose.
No, he did not know better.
Didn't know better with Kim Kardashian.
No, he did not. No, he did not know. No, he did not know better with Amber Rose. He did not know better. He had a falling out with Amber Rose at a time where this Armenian chick that he had been pining for made herself available. That was what happened. He had a falling out with Amber. At the end of the day, Amber Rose is a feckless hood rat stripper. Kanye took her because she's racially ambiguous. Take a look at Kim Kardashian. Another I shouldn't say racially ambiguous, but certainly she doesn't have those striking Caucasian Anglo-Saxon features. She's a white woman, but she doesn't have those Anglo-Saxon features. But once again, take a look at her body type. Even if it is plastic infused, but then again, so is Amber's. Take a look at them. The only difference between Amber and Kim is the hair. Their sexual pedigree is the same. Their physical dimensions, the same. Their penchant for wasting niggas' money, the same. We can go down the list. Kim is just a quieter, more reserved Armenian version of Amber. When you really get down to brass tacks. He really married got the same woman all over again. The only thing that fooled him was this one's tweaked. When we made some tweaks around the edges, and that was enough to fool him. But if you take a look at them on paper, though, Kim and Amber actually match up more than they differ. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get a caller from area code 832. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
Houston.
Okay.
Houston, Texas.
What is your name?
Oh, Tony. How you doing?
Tony from Houston. What's on your mind?
Man, I mean, I seen this coming. After he got married, I already knew what Kanye was about because, I mean, he don't seem like a guy that can just handle women. Like he's not a dude he's not that type of guy. I mean, you can tell that, right?
Well, like I said, I mean, the problem with the beta is they are socially awkward. They are not used to dealing with women. They believe they can buy and purchase respect. And ultimately, that's not something you can actually do. If you don't actually have that capability within you, it's not going to work. At the end of the day, they can see how vulnerable you are, and they're going to exploit it.
So, I mean, I remember, like, okay, I'm an older guy. I'm in the 70s. I'm born in the 70s. I remember when guys didn't make it rain in the strip club in the 90s. We didn't go in the strip club and just throw money in the air. We made a girl work for 10 minutes. When I walked up to the stage and fold the dollar 10 times, then drop it off and leave. These guys, they twisted the game. That's what I keep telling them.
Well, at this point right now, you've got 3 generations of boys raised by single moms. They don't have any game. That's the bottom line. Their job is to appease any female, because since they lack those truly leadership qualities and masculine traits, they don't have anything to negotiate with. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 267. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on live. Wake up with the pipe down. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Mike. I'm calling from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Mike from Fort Wayne, Indiana. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to I have something to go along with your topic. And when I was young, I was like 24 years old. I met this older woman. She wasn't that attractive, but at the same time, she was giving me everything, money. You know, I was a homosexual, I'm going to go ahead and say it. And place to stay, ride, you know what I'm saying, to kind of maybe go a little farther. The whole time I'm thinking I'm playing her the whole time. She getting me. I have to find out she's 40, I was 24, you know, and she had no kids. Ended up coming out that she took fraternal pills in order for me to get her pregnant. And ended up having a baby with me, and then completely switched on me. So women are really preying on people out here, and there are beta males who think that they are alpha males and think that they have game, they're running game, but at the same time, the game's being run on them.
Okay,
That's all I have
That's
to say.
an interesting story you tell. Did you meet her in Fort Wayne?
Yes.
Okay, and let me find out here. Where did you meet her? How did you meet her?
It was at a party. It was just at a party I went to.
You met her at a
we just
party.
happened to meet there.
Did
really was kind of set up too at the same time.
Okay, well, it was a setup. What do you mean it was a setup? What you got? She slipped you a Mickey
I mean,
Finn?
no,
What do
it
you
wasn't
mean?
really a setup, but
Thank you.
No,
All right,
no,
thank you for
like
clarifying
that.
that. Thank you. Okay.
It was just kind of like she was a friend of my sister, but she kind of sent her over to me. You know what I'm saying? And it just kind of happened.
Okay.
Because I mean, it was no one that I would pursue on a regular. You know what I'm saying? I had my own thing going on, but all the stuff she had to offer seemed like I was trying to get in, get out. You know what I'm saying? Move around, do what I was gonna do, but that's just not how it turned out. Which I'm not blaming her or nothing, but I'm just saying people got to be cautious of what they're doing and pay attention if you ain't fooling because anything can happen.
Well, hold on a minute. A couple of the things here, though. You said she was 40 years old?
Yes, I was 24.
Okay. Did she have any other kids?
No, she had none at all.
Had she
That's why
ever?
I think she was.
Had she ever been pregnant before?
No.
Did you take a look at her abdomen to see if she had stretch marks? If she did, she's probably been pregnant before.
Oh, she had stretch marks, but they weren't for no pregnancy.
Okay, brother, you might have got took right there. First of all, don't be naive. But
Right.
here's another thing.
I was very naive.
Here's another thing about it. The real thing I'm taking a look at is the fact, why in the world would she want to get pregnant by you? What was so special about you?
I don't think it was anything special about me. I think it was that the clock, really, of having a baby at that time. Because we discussed it, and it was something that I was completely against. But at the same time, I felt like she felt like her clock was running out, and I had kind of started to elevate and get better than when we first met. So I'm looking like I'm cool. I can, I had started making like 60, 70. And I'm like, well, but at the same time, now I'm attached. You see what I'm saying? And I just don't want to just do her, you know what I'm saying, dirtball. But I don't think it was just something special about me, I just think it was the time. And I was there.
Okay.
And we had some kind of history.
How old are you now?
Now I'm 35.
Okay, so that was a decade ago. So she's like 50, 51.
Yeah.
Okay. And how old's the kid now?
My kid is 7.
Your kid is 7.
Yeah. I didn't get her pregnant when I was 24, but you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
In the course of that time, that's what happened.
He just said he got her pregnant at 24, but okay.
No, that's when I met her.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's certainly not a great situation to have right there, fellas. Y'all have to be cognizant. A lot of y'all dudes get out here and stuff. Okay, I'll be real with you.
I was really just sitting out.
The real thing is,
sending out a warning.
Let's just be honest here. She met a guy who's not the sharpest tool in the shed. He didn't have a bunch of aspirations. He doesn't really think about things. Women look for emotionally weak, intellectually weak individuals who don't have a problem having unprotected sex and then sitting up here taking all types of reckless habits and whatnot. You're sitting up here doing crazy stuff in this woman and not thinking it over whatsoever. And let's just be clear about it. And the reason for it is because you didn't have nothing. You didn't have any money. You didn't have any aspirations. You weren't going anywhere. You weren't building nothing. You weren't doing anything. You had nothing to lose. So she was the peak value for you. And in the process, now she kind of got you wrong. Because that's the real mess of it right there. For the next 10, 12 years. And the other thing is, does she have you on child support?
Not yet. I mean, I know it will happen, but I mean, I take care of my daughter, you know what I'm saying, and everything. And that's why I really called you, because I knew you was gonna keep it raw and funky with me. And
how can you take care of your daughter if you don't live with them?
At the time.
How can you take care of your daughter if you don't live with them?
I mean, if I'm not working, I have her. You know what I'm saying? Financially, I do what I do. I do the e-learning. I do the trips, and it's kind of we co-parent pretty good.
Problem, she doesn't strike me as good. She doesn't strike me as good mother material, and you don't strike me as the most responsible father material based on what I've heard so far. Hopefully that has improved somewhat, but the real issue I have here is when y'all go off and get pregnant all willy-nilly by these chicks who are obviously skullduggerous in some ways, it just leaves you in a perilous position, because at any time she could flip the script on you. I mean, like right now,
that's
right? Well,
the
slow down.
Situation I'm in right now.
Slow down.
What I'm saying is,
okay, pump your brakes.
My bad.
Right now, you are entering the most what is supposed to be the most profitable period of your life. That's where you're supposed to be in right now. You're supposed to be hitting your peak in your mid-30s. And let me ask you one question. In Fort Wayne, Indiana, how much money did you make in 2020?
I haven't got my W-2s yet, but I'm sure it should be like 60, 65.
Okay. So just understand, while that's hardly minimum wage, going into your 30s here, you need as little headwind on you as you can have. And having to take care of kids and then keep baby mamas quiet, that's a drag on the finances. And right now, that woman's got nothing to lose by racking you with a kid and just waiting to see what happens. There's some noise going on behind you here, so I'm going to let you go, but thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Fellas, the most important decision you will make is the woman that you choose to carry your legacy. That will be the most important decision that you make. If you become a peak value man, the single most important decision you will make is the woman that you choose to carry your legacy. Most important decision. You have to choose carefully. You have to choose carefully. You don't go off and just get any old broad pregnant. That chick is supposed to fill out paperwork, documentation, pass a background check. She's supposed to qualify. And what I'm saying is, if you are a useless male, then you're going to have useless kids. You're going to have useless kids. And if you're willing to get a chick pregnant at random, that's the definition of being a useless. You're obviously worthless. Your seed ain't nothing to protect. You don't even have anything to protect. Caller from area code 313. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Julius in Detroit.
Okay, Julius from Detroit. What's on your mind?
Yeah, was calling as far as with Kim. To be honest, even though we have a viewpoint of being in a bad spot socially as far as black folks, black men especially, all those other people who come and get with black people always come on the come up off of black folks. Unfortunately, we don't really get as much as we put in. So that's probably something that he never really thought of either.
Well, he cashed out. He did all that work to become valuable, but you don't see people the way that they see themselves. That's what I was saying.
Right.
That's what I was saying from the beginning. The way that we see him isn't the way he sees himself. And if you take a look at his music, what was that album he did, Heartbreak and 808s or whatever it is? That was really him saying what he thinks of himself. And you would do well to listen to that, because that's going to be the person. That's what's really beneath the music, beneath the mystique, beneath the status, beneath the albums, beneath the awards. That's the real person. And Kim saw that, and she capitalized on it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 601. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Sean. It's my first time calling.
Okay, Sean, where are you calling in from?
Out of Jackson, Mississippi.
Sean from Jackson, Mississippi. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you've been saying, but at the same time, I kind of look at it as it was a dual, not necessarily a dual come up, but he was looking for some type of social standing too. Because if you look at it from when Jay-Z and Beyonce was together, he would always talk about Jay-Z having the baddest chick in the game. Now, at the time when they got together, there was no other chick as far as social standards that had that outside of Kim Kardashian.
Here's the problem, brother. Any female that Kanye got with, her image would have been elevated. Kim Kardashian is a chick who's jumped from one dude to another to keep her name relevant, to keep her name out there. So in reality, no, it wasn't a dual come up. He brought her up. Just like Ray J brought her up, Reggie Bush, Chris Humphries. She's leapfrogged from one lily pad to another. She didn't do anything for Kanye. Hell, take a look at Amber Rose. How did Amber Rose enhance Kanye? Oh, wait a minute, she didn't.
No, she didn't. She didn't.
Right, but neither did Kim either. Remove Kanye from that equation. If you remove Kanye from that equation at that time, what do you have?
She still was socialist. She was still a social. She's a social darling. Like, we can't take that away from her.
Yes, you can. No, sir. No. Paris Hilton is one of the Hilton heiresses. Got a multi-billion-dollar empire from her name. Britney Spears was a pop star. Kim Kardashian was none of these things. She didn't produce anything.
They didn't last. But they didn't last.
Whoa,
How long did they
no.
last?
Paris
didn't last.
Paris is still doing perfectly fine. Brittany is still doing shows. She ain't got her kids
You
or
know,
power of attorney,
they
but she
did
doesn't have
last.
that.
Come on, Jason. No, we can't.
Okay, but that's got nothing. Sir, that's got nothing to do with
we
her.
gotta tell the truth now.
But that's got nothing
gotta
to.
tell
Okay,
the
but
truth
that's
at
got
some
nothing to do
Like,
with
these people didn't
her,
last.
sir. Last time, that has nothing to do with Kim. Nothing. Nothing at all.
She's a social darling. What are
No,
you saying?
she's a social darling because of who she knows. If you remove the who she knows, she's nobody.
She's a social standard. Yes, she is.
Not by
when
herself. She's famous because she knows people. She was a freaking
She does know
hairstylist.
people, but when Beyonce, that's the biggest reason why Beyonce and Jay-Z, Jay-Z and Kanye fell out. Because when Kanye got with it, he felt like he was leveling up enough to be able to bring her around Beyonce. But Beyonce, being the queen that she is, said, no.
Sir,
Don't bring
please,
that
okay,
trash around
stop
me.
that
We
nonsense. Okay, don't bring that nonsense here. That was not what happened. Kanye West was wild. Kanye West was wilding out and acting the way that he does because once he got with Kim.
That's what he said.
No, sir. Kanye West had the same falling out with Jay-Z that he's had with everybody else. His ego will not fit in the room with anybody else. That was the problem.
And his ego is what put him with Kim.
Okay, but that wasn't why. Okay, but that was not why he fell out with Jay-Z. That had nothing.
His ego is what made him fall out with
that
Jay-Z.
had nothing to do with it. Kanye is always been. Kanye was always feeling himself.
Tell me how they fall out.
Kanye, I'll tell you what they said. He's always feeling himself, but he's reached a point in life. Jay-Z don't want to fool with Dame Dash, and I'm not saying necessarily justified. Jay-Z has his own vision of himself, and that vision has been built around keeping him and Beyonce isolated from other people. So, and Beyonce don't really fool with folk like that either. And Kanye was useful when they was doing what niggas in Paris or whatever. That's great. Kanye confused the magnitude of the working relationship to be a personal one and didn't realize that Jay-Z, Sean Carter ain't got no friends. He doesn't have
I agree
any.
with that.
That's the point you okay. That's the point you didn't get. Everybody is gonna fall out with Jay-Z because Jay-Z don't have no friends. Ask Dame Dash. Ask I forget the other fellow who was at Rockefeller, whatever the guy's name, Biggs, whatever his name was. Jay-Z don't have no friends. And when you go try to track all the people who have been, quote, friends with him, all you can talk about are folk he used to have around and used to be with, but you can't name anybody today. And the mistake that a person will make is attempting to become friends with him. And that's what Kanye attempted to do, is to say, hey, we're peers. And you're talking to a guy who can make raps, but he ain't got no friends. And that works for Beyonce because she ain't got no friends. And there's nobody from Destiny's Child who really fools with Beyonce. And then again, she ain't even got a functional relationship with her own father. Oh, wait a minute. That sounds like Jay-Z. I'm trying to put some dots together here. For those of y'all who didn't do it before, by the way, if you actually thought about this, you would realize, damn, this is totally consistent with what Jay-Z has done. Now you enter into the equation Kanye, who doesn't really mesh with people. He just barges in the room and let me be great. That's not going to fly on a regular day, much less fly with somebody like Sean Carter and Beyonce Knowles. This dude, we made some songs with you and we went on tour with you, and that's the extent of it. And Kanye, with his emotional dependency and looking for a new father figure and so desperate for a family, he pushed for something.
90 seconds.
All he really came across as was emotionally dependent to them. And they were just like, yeah, we're good on this. And Jay don't want drama. He doesn't take drama. He doesn't like it. He doesn't invite it. He won't harbor it. And Kanye was drama. That's the end of it.
Kanye was definitely
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 678. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
60 seconds.
Good, Jason. It's the kid James from Plainfield, New Jersey.
Okay, James from Plainsfield. What's on your mind?
Hey, man. I want to say, man, shout out to you. And I do want to say this. If there's any black instructors out there in New Jersey that that's an instructor like in the trade, like carpentry, put your information on the chat. And
well, sir, I can't solicit that necessarily because I'm not really sure what we're doing. But thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I was getting ready to hype up his beat for him. Maybe next time. Let me get caller from area code 859. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Let me try this again. Caller from area code 859. You're on live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason, this is CJ from Nashville, Tennessee.
CJ from Nashville. What's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going, man? I'm also a Business Gold member, but I wanted to say thank you for everything with this platform as well as the Black channel. Everything that you've been putting out, man, has been, just fire. And it seems like every single day has been more applicable to at least my life. You've been doing the Six Figure Men's Club as well as the other broadcasts, and I just wanted to say, it seems like, especially already in 2021, everything that you've already been saying has come to light. And I didn't really realize it, but it's not necessarily just 2021 or 2020 that it's harder for women, but I'm starting to see it across the board that it seems like other men that I've come in contact with that are actually single, that are actually moving some of those numbers, they feel the exact same way. So it's not just, I thought it was just me, okay, I'm 33, this is where I'm at in life, okay, damn, is there not any women that actually qualify, you know what I'm saying, that are actually wife material? But it seems like other guys that I've been talking to, they feel the exact same way. Basically, everything that you've been saying has been correct. So,
well, thank you very much.
I just feel like it's true.
I'm going to be doing another patron exclusive program here. What I want to do is I want to do a live one of the Dark Arts game. So I'm actually preparing to do that. So my patrons, just hang on. I got to go through my message inbox. It's got dozens of messages in there. But you all be watching for that. I got something coming for you. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Got something coming from my patrons here in just a little bit. Tonight, we've been discussing peak value beta male. We've been here for over 3 hours. Just understand that money doesn't make you an alpha. Just because you got money, that doesn't make you an alpha. As a matter of fact, most of the so-called alphas, most of the so-called men out here today are betas, regardless of their money, regardless of anything else, because they are emotionally dominated. They weren't given a proper masculine skill set, and they are emotionally dominated. And it shows in every other part of their life, they are vulnerable. They're vulnerable. So I'm holding up Kanye's situation as a cautionary tale. If you cannot or will not control your emotions, if you cannot or will not become a leader, if you are looking for other people to emotionally balance you out, if that's what you think is going to happen, then you are getting ready for a rude awakening. If you are new here to the business, we would like to welcome you to the foundation. Definitely make sure you click that subscribe button and then go ahead and click that yellow notification bell. YouTube does have us under a shadow ban, but definitely by subscribing, it helps us to aggregate our numbers. We have over 28,000 subscribers and rising. Whole lot going on here. If you haven't checked out my community board here on YouTube, you want to take a look where I put up my posts at. I put up a post yesterday for men with answers only. I got some investigating I'm going to do about this here because I feel like some false flagging's going on, and I want to make a point about that. So go ahead and check that post out. For my patrons, we're going to have another patron exclusive coming up here in a little bit, so be watching for that as well. Can't wait to chop it up with all of you all one-on-one over there. That's exactly what we want. So make sure you're a part of that. And if you haven't shared tonight's program, you want to do that as well. We're getting our weight up over here. A lot of folks are worried about it. A lot of folks are scared. Hell, this website is scared of it. But we're going to give them something to be scared of. You got that? And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.